And we are live!
Yes.
Welcome everyone back to another Epic Verse live show.
Yeah.
It's Mike and I, and we are going to be the ones that are going to be carrying this whole show on our backs, because Disbrew and Ben have both abandoned us. They are gone. They have been lost to the ether. But we do have Steph from My Nerdy Home coming in clutch, helping us out with the show today. And of course, it's awesome having her here as being part of the guest panel. So how's it going, Steph?
Hi, I'm doing good, thank you. I took some opportunities yesterday to, I don't know, go back to like my old Twitter days and kind of put Twitter trolls in their place. So that was a lot of fun, especially since my my She-Hulk tweet made its way to the weirdos on Twitter, and so that was a lot of fun. There are a lot of what are they called, like feminist men out there trying to put me in my place and tell me how I as a woman should think. It was very nice. It was very fun. It was very fun playing with people on Twitter. I haven't done that in a while.
Leave it to a man to tell a woman how she should do things, especially when you're defending women.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you have that tweet so we can pull it up and
the She-Hulk tweet? Which one? Because I've got
the one that's getting everyone mad.
Oh,
is it the "I've heard this one before" tweet, or is that something else?
Oh no, it was something else. I actually showed just put out the tweet of the video of She-Hulk twerking.
Oh yeah. Is it your? Oh yeah, this is Marvel now, and
this is Marvel now.
Yeah, this. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
What's funny to me is like it wasn't even that egregious of a tweet or anything, but people got really upset about it because they know it was stupid. Like that's the thing. You don't get upset about something if there's no reason to. Like if you just say, it's like the whole thing with oh wow, the libs of TikTok. All they do is reshare videos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And people are like, "Oh my gosh, what?" And they're like, "I'm just showing what somebody else put on the internet."
How dare you show us?
Literally just holding up a mirror to you, and that's all it takes to get them mad, I guess.
Yeah.
So this is the tweet from Steph that got all of the male feminists triggered, apparently. So
that's it.
Yeah.
This is Marvel now. Some people were upset that I said Marvel. That I said this is Marvel. They're like, what? So you're saying this represents all of Marvel? I was like, well, this as a show is part of the Marvel universe.
It's all connected. Yeah, it's all connected.
It's Marvel.
That's what they say.
This is Marvel.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you say that this is Marvel? This represents Marvel. I was like, Marvel is putting out this stuff. Yeah,
yes.
This is Marvel.
We didn't make them do this.
I hate this so much. Like, this makes me cringe so much. Like, I don't understand why women think that twerking is attractive to men, because
I can understand, like, if girls are hanging out or whatever, they're having fun and like whatever, like do your thing. But the fact is, it's on a television show that you're trying to like use as a female empowerment, and your idea of female empowerment is like her twerking in her office.
Yes, that's what they
like.
That's
now, like. You know what would have been less weird, honestly? And this is a thing that they could have easily done. Show her hang out with Megan Thee Stallion at a bar or at a club doing this, and everybody like around She-Hulk going, go She, or whatever. But people would have still thought it was ridiculous, but none of that would have had the same level of like cringe and also the same level of like
or
I don't know.
Or like in the privacy of her own home, maybe just having fun.
Yeah, like this just feels so weird and
it's random. Out of place, it's unprofessional, and people are like, she's so many stories up and she's doing it in the privacy of her office. It's like, no, her boss
was standing right there,
sees that and walks away. So people can see inside her office. She's got glass doors, for crying
literally
out.
Like 10 seconds before this, like she was having her sign like a contract or something, and then suddenly like they're twerking like out of nowhere. It's like, what?
Yeah,
doesn't make any
Stallion,
sense.
One trick pony. That's what I can do. Twerk, known for twerking, gotta twerk.
Yeah.
And this they do consider this female empowerment.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because
do you feel empowered? Do you feel empowered, Steph, when you see
I think it's trashy. I've always thought it was trashy. I think it's trashy.
Yeah, I mean I don't remember who it was. There's somebody that was asking like, do guys actually find twerking attractive the other day? And the majority of guys were like, no, not really.
And some do, but I mean, there's actually the whole thing from the cast and crew were apparently ecstatic over this cameo.
Oh yeah.
And the twerking. Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see if I can find the actual quote here.
Well, Megan Thee Stallion, she makes it her job. Her job is to make men uncomfortable. That is her job. That's what she thinks.
That's very, very stunning and brave.
Yeah.
Very stunning and brave.
Yep.
Yeah, let me see. I'm trying to find that quote as well because I think I know which one you're talking about here.
Well, the girl that plays She-Hulk, Tatiana Maslany or whatever, she said, I was pretty close to tears with excitement. Yeah. It wasn't just like she was a fan of because she was about to meet Megan. She was a fan.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And then Maslany said that the twerking scene was like the highlight of her life. When Jessica Gao was like, we're writing you a scene where you're dancing with her, I basically died. I fell off the planet. I fixated on that moment for 2 weeks and I couldn't talk to her. I didn't know how to be around her. Yeah.
It has. Okay. I have a serious question for you guys. Have you laughed, like actually genuinely laughed at anything in this show?
No.
I got like a little chuckle, like, huh. When they told Wong that like you committed a crime, and he's like, I have to go, and then
okay, no, okay, you're right.
That was like
I
the
did
only
chuckle
time
at
that I
that
was
a
like,
little
huh, okay,
Yep.
But then it makes Wong seem like an idiot.
Yeah.
Because he's
a
very,
criminal.
he is very like in the first Doctor Strange. He's by the rules. The rules are everything.
Yep.
We have rules as a society. You committed a crime, and he runs away from it. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Harry, thank you for the $5 super chat. The Salt Legion gets everywhere. Let the salt mines blow.
Hail, Salty Cracker. I work for Salty Cracker. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? Really?
You do.
Wow, that's pretty. That's pretty
Salty's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hail,
Steph
Mrs.
works for a Salty Cracker.
Yeah, they're a great duo. They do great stuff. So that's awesome.
It's funny because I was going to finish this quote too. One of the showrunners just said it might be a CGI character, but that's all Tatiana in that moment. We really just let them dance. We played the song. We put a few cameras on them. I had to keep telling the camera operators to go down. They were being very. This is my favorite part. Ready for this? I had to keep telling the camera operators to go down. They were being very respectful, and I said, "Guys, you gotta point the camera down."
I thought the crew was all women. I thought that's what they were promoting. That we have an all-women crew.
Well, they told the women they had to. They're like, show her ass now.
Do it.
Don't put the camera on her butt.
This is empowering. Any other moment, it's bad. But this
Thanks
moment,
for being respectful.
This moment is empowering.
But show it. Yeah. Thanks for being respectful, but put it on her ass. You're fired.
Well, I thought that was bad. Not in this moment. Do it.
Not in that moment.
Oh, terrible. Okay. I feel bad for the CGI artist who had to actually create She-Hulk twerking.
Yeah. Yep. So like, get on it now. Get
Poor
it done.
Guys. They're already overworked, and this is what they're overworked on. A She-Hulk twerk.
Dude, it's all bad. It's all bad.
Yeah. Epstein's ghost. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Hail, Josiah. Your YouTube has been epic lately. And on a side note, Steph and Epic are badass. Keep up the great work. Cheers. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Well, me and Steph have been kind of linked recently on a lot of stuff. Apparently, that whole twerking meme, like, it was basically me and Steph together.
Oh, that's right.
I got to see if I can find that one because
Put my face on She-Hulk and Mike. Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, I always appreciate that. Dermy Wormy shows up too.
On Mario Kart, but we could twerk together.
Yeah, but we can absolutely check our asses on camera together. Just make sure if you're a cameraman, you put it on our asses. Don't be respectful. Right. We didn't ask for respect. We asked for you to objectify us right now in this moment.
Well, I don't think you were here last week, Mike.
I wasn't,
but we were talking about how great of a booty you have on the stream. So
well, thanks.
Oh, that is true. Josiah did share that back shot of you.
I don't appreciate that at all.
Yeah. Let me actually find that because it's a great.
No, let's freaking not. Maybe you could just delete that forever off the internet. I'm trying to find the video or the picture that somebody shared of me and stuff doing that because it was pretty funny. You just get memed to hell all over the internet whenever you do anything. So, or when you just exist, apparently, because I literally did nothing and everybody was like, "Oh man, we should make Steph and Mike be the ones that were twerking together."
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can kind of see Megan Thee Stallion being kind of like your alter ego. Yeah.
Well, I used to say that my spirit animal was Ariana Grande, but I mean, I guess I can move it to Megan Thee Stallion instead.
They're both
Ariana
cringe.
Grande.
So
Why Ariana Grande?
Because I am very, very extra about a lot of things, and yeah,
like licking donuts extra.
Yeah. Like, if I was rich,
you ever hear that story about Ariana Grande stuff?
No.
About her licking the donuts? Yeah, she went to like a Dunkin'.
And then, she put it back.
Yeah, she was just like going. Yeah, she just was like going around licking donuts and crap and being like, "Oh,
just because she's Ariana Grande, so why not? Why not go around and lick donuts?"
Listen, if I could get away with just going around licking donuts and people not be able to say anything to me because I was a wealthy woman, like I would.
Yeah. Were you about to say wealthy bitch?
It's not worried about what I was gonna say. We just focus on what I could. I can't find this meme anywhere, but somebody already shared this one. Thanks, Dermy Wormy, for this one. I really appreciate that.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, lucky me.
Scared.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would rather watch a show of Steph and Mike having adventures and twerking and things than oh my gosh.
I like that one.
Oh my gosh.
God.
Yeah. Thanks, Dermy Wormy. Appreciate you, man.
It looks like Steph's like legitimately doing a reaction to.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh my god, what is happening?" Yeah.
That's really funny.
I feel so lucky. I feel so blessed, So blessed to
so what are your guys' thoughts on episode 3 of She-Hulk?
Sucks. Go ahead.
My favorite part was when the writer did a self-insert and made herself one of the 7 soulmates of Abomination.
Yeah, that was actually pretty great. Yeah,
wow,
that was pretty. It was pretty wonderful. Like, yeah, I was like, wow.
No, okay, a woman so lonely she had to find love in prison. Sure.
Yes, Steph was like, wait a minute, isn't that the main, like the showrunner? Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is. Yeah. It's embarrassing, frankly.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Like the breaking the fourth wall thing just isn't working in this show either.
Well, what they need to use it more than they do. They only use it these really weird moments where they want to drop exposition but get away with it. And the whole thing is, if it's supposed to be her life and her story as she's telling it, then she needs to break the fourth wall consistently, and she doesn't.
Yeah, so for chat, basically what happens is like there's these moments in She-Hulk where she'll like break the fourth wall, she'll talk directly like to the camera and everything, and they keep on using this every once in a while. And the thing about it is that you can tell that they're trying to be funny with it, and I think that's the thing that makes it suck so much, is that they're trying to be funny when it's actually not funny.
100%
doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing.
See, when Deadpool does it, it's hilarious.
Yes.
It's really funny. And that's because Ryan Reynolds plays his character as like this sarcastic, very self-aware but hilarious character, right? She-Hulk is trying to be serious in a comedy.
Yeah.
She's trying to make people take her more serious, take her seriously. In a comedy, it doesn't really play well. If she had a different air about her, then it would be funny, but it's not coming across as funny. It's coming across very snarky and just whiny, and it doesn't play off that way. Even when she does speak to the camera, it's kind of like she's speaking down to you, because at the very end, like at the beginning of this episode, she's like, "Don't you forget whose show this is," in a very serious way. It's like,
exactly.
Sorry, I'm sorry that I was excited for cameos.
Yeah, she's like, we're not about cameos on this show, just other than this one and this one and that one and this one. Don't forget, it's my show. While she takes her hand off the wheel, driving down the road, talking to people after she had in the first episode gotten in a car accident and almost killed her cousin. Let's forget the part where she.
These are going to be a very, very painful weeks ahead of us, as we have to deal with 2 very insufferable female protagonists in She-Hulk and Rings of Power. It's not going to be fun.
Hi, Lady G.
Hi, guys. I'm surprised you let me come back.
Well, of course. Why
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
I was thinking about not bringing you back, but Mike
I
was like,
know.
please bring her back. He begs. So
I'm
yeah.
actually
Wow.
just here for
No, I'm just
Steph.
kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome having you here, Lady Gravemaster. So
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me back on. So I have a question.
Yeah.
As you guys know, I am not watching She-Hulk, but I
Oof.
have seen from Black Widow that clip where he's like, "Are you two on your periods or something?" And then they take a situation that could have been like lighthearted or something of that nature. Like they could have handled that a lot more with a lot more class, and they're like, and then they just went into like a massive guilt trip. Is that kind of what She-Hulk does with the comedy?
Yeah, she's like really, really snarky a lot of the times, and they are kind of trying to play that off as being comedic, and it's just not that funny. So
Well, their jokes come at the expense of other people, of putting other people down,
yeah.
especially
Yeah.
men.
But it's
Yes.
never like a funny, like, we're poking fun at this. It's like a direct, like, this is why this is bad and, like, this is shitty.
Mhm.
And then, haha, isn't that funny? Like, it's like, no. They spend, like, the whole first, beginning of the third episode showing, like, tweets and, like, internet people complaining. They're like, why are all our superheroes female now? And, oh, why couldn't she use a different name other than She-Hulk, even though that's the name that the public gave her? And it doesn't land because the idea is people in real life, if like the whole thing with Marvel, nobody complained about Black Widow being a superhero. Nobody really has complained about any of these female superheroes. Like those kind of criticisms are what you might see on the internet in response to Disney going, hey, our phase 4, we're going to make sure that it's all diversity all the time and let you know that that's what we want it to be. It wasn't like, oh, hey, by the way, I just noticed like 6 of the 7 Avengers are female. It's like, no. We have to announce every time there's a female superhero or a black superhero that's what they are. And that's how stunning and brave they are as characters to be taking these roles. Like we saw it with Namor. You could have just had Namor be Namor. And the guy's like, oh man, I'm so thankful that I got this role. I get to represent my culture and my people that aren't my culture and my people because I'm American on this television show and stuff. So that's the problem is they want to talk about it and make a huge conversation about it. When people go, why does that matter? They go, you're racist, and I can't believe you'd bring that up.
Not only that, but they also ignore the fact that people loved the character of Black Widow. And one of the main gripes when Captain Marvel came out was we should have gotten a Black Widow movie. Why didn't we get a Black Widow movie before Captain Marvel? Black Widow should have gotten her movie. She's an OG Avenger. Everybody else got one.
Yeah.
Why not Black Widow? So people really wanted to see that movie, and people had a reaction to her death.
Yep.
In Endgame.
Yep.
She's an OG Avenger. She had a really good story. So when her movie finally came out, it's like, what's the point? You're dead. How am I supposed to feel about this character? We know how her story ends. So it really was a little too late for her movie. And that was another main gripe about her movie. It's too little too late. Why are you giving it to us now? I don't get it. You know?
It was,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's where her movie is where Captain Marvel should have been, and Captain Marvel was where her movie should have gone. For
100%.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumors that actually was on purpose. But that's the thing. If you really believed in and really it was important for you to have female empowerment and female characters and stuff like that, Black Widow should have got a movie like right away. But they didn't care. They want to push. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say the problem is one, Scarlett Johansson's a redhead, or at least Black Widow is a redhead. For one, and two, Scarlett Johansson is far more attractive than Brie Larson by a long shot.
Oh yeah.
And so,
yeah.
I think to sort of have, I think they were probably like, God, the Me Too lie, because that's what it is. These people haven't changed who they are. That's why they're shouting so loudly about all of it on Twitter. Because when you find out that they told a sexist joke or they told a mildly offensive joke, something that everybody would have laughed at in like 2002, and not have it bother anybody, like now you get canceled. They don't want you to be able to book shows. Like when you go after Dave Chappelle, I mean, that man insults everybody with his comedy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like nobody's safe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like,
As it
well,
should be.
yeah, and they're like, well, comedy is supposed to speak truth to power, and he's just continuing to crush other people under their boot, under the boot. And I'm like, no, he is actually very much using comedy the way it's intended to be used, and it's to
Yeah.
hold a mirror up to yourself. And then
Yeah.
listening to Steph sort of describe the lack of comedy in She-Hulk, what it sounds like is they're attempting to do I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but there was this little skit and it was called Joke by the Numbers, and it was it was like, how many times can you do a that's what she said before it's not funny anymore? And
Mhm.
then they were trying to come up with the perfect formula to make the perfect joke, basically.
Mm.
And then of course the punchline at the end of the joke is that it's there is no perfect joke. There isn't a perfect joke. You can't formulate it. It's based solely on the talent of the person writing the material and their ability to deliver it. And based off of what I was listening to Steph describe, it sounds like they fail in setup, delivery, and execution of the joke.
Mhm.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like
the idea is to, if your argument is like comedy is speaking truth to power, and you have one of somebody that's considered one of the greatest comedians of all time making jokes about you, maybe it's like, stop and look in the mirror and go like, why is he making jokes about us? Could it be that we're like the powers that he's trying to speak truth to? But you don't want to have that conversation, because the reality is, if you're a constant victim or making yourself a constant victim, then you won't ever look at yourself and go, how am I like complicit in causing issues, or how am I causing problems in society today? So you want to have, but they don't want to have those conversations because they think they're the victims all the time, which is an unhealthy narrative to have, because if you're always the underdog, then everybody around you is an enemy,
Yep.
And
Exactly.
So
That's basically She-Hulk. Every man is the enemy.
yeah.
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 One of the worst characters in the She-Hulk show is Dennis, I think he's called.
The misogynist.
Oh my gosh.
And that's
dude.
the only thing that is
Oh.
his character. He's a
Yeah.
misogynist. That's it.
Yep.
yeah,
He's like, Dennis is like the character that was created by like the feminist writer to represent what she wants women to think men are like.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's like literally like I've worked around lots and lots of men in my life. I've never seen a guy act to this extreme.
No.
Unironically, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, unironic. Exactly. Unironically.
Yeah.
This is a misogynist and an idiot, by the way.
Yeah.
In this episode,
Mhm.
he's an idiot. And it kind of makes you wonder, how did you get through law school? How did you get through law school, pass the bar, and get the job that you
Yeah.
have? You're an idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Exactly.
So
Oh, yeah.
that consistency in his character is just like out of place. Like, are you
Mhm.
okay? You want a misogynist? Make it someone else. Like you're and an idiot. You can't have both. Like he has to be smart. At least smart. He's a lawyer.
Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly.
Give him some
Yeah.
intelligence, but no,
Mhm.
he's not. Apparently, he's just an
Yeah.
idiot.
Yep. It's very obvious that the writer of the show, what's her name, Jessica Gao? Is that
Jessica
her name?
Gao.
Yeah, she
sure.
has a lot of contempt for men.
So
Yeah.
Very apparent.
like, do they legitimately believe that people are just, because this sounds like a really one-dimensional show,
Yes.
It is.
Oh, it's very one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
and so like, do they honestly believe that people are one-dimensional? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but usually, so like, if you have a corporate job or a mainstream job or like a normal 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, what have you, there's like a corporate structure, and you have to present like, well, maybe not anymore, but you used to have to meet the dress code, and you had to speak a specific way. It's not like you couldn't go to work and you can't trash the company, right? So who you present at work is not necessarily who you are. It simply means that you can be professional, right?
Mhm.
So for all you know, the hardest worker, well, this was the case, at least for me, when I was working, I worked in the jewelry circuit, for about 2.5 years. There was a guy who was unbelievable at his job. He was 6'5", blonde, blue-eyed, built like a brick house. And he would sell like the most delicate pieces flawlessly. And he would just like, he'd go into it. He'd talk about not only are there 4 C's, there's like, not only are there 5 C's, there's like, there's 5 C's, and this is why, and this is what. The greatest thing I have ever heard, I would have bought this $10,000 necklace, and I would not spend 10 grand on a necklace, but I would have bought this one because he was talking to this husband and wife, and this was for their 25-year anniversary. And he literally said, he goes, this isn't a piece of jewelry that I'm selling to you. This is a memory. Your kids are going to see you at your 25th anniversary celebration. You only have one daughter. She's going to see you wearing this necklace, and she's going to dream of the day that a man treats her that well, that he will present her with some sort of symbol of affection like this to share with others as well. And you can give this to your oldest son when he reaches his 25th milestone, to give to his wife, and it becomes an heirloom, and it attaches all of these memories to it, and it will survive through generations simply because you two love each other. I was like, I'll buy it. I'll buy it right now. But then it's like, funny. You'd leave work, and I mean,
I want that.
Right? Yeah. We'd leave work, and he was like, oh my God, he played so hard. He would go hunting and fishing and clubbing and dancing, and just like, he would go do all of this crazy stuff. But like at work, he never talked about that stuff. He never said that, no, you're stupid for wanting to spend $7,500 on a ring. He never mocked the customers. You know, even if he personally didn't think it was a good choice, he never belittled them. And I'll never forget, he was like, there is a difference between being fake and being professional. This is my job, and it's my duty to these customers to present them with the best experience possible. And he's like, being fake would be if they asked me if I like something, and if he goes, I'm always honest with them. I tell them it's not personally my taste, but if it suits you, then like we can talk more about it. And he's like, that is the difference between professional and fake. And I was like, that's fantastic life advice, because who you are at work should not necessarily be who you are at home, unless you're like Father Christopher Miller, in which case like your work is literally your life. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
and that's with any job.
Yeah, that's with any job. That's what I'm saying. This writer, to sort of circle back on that very wide story, it feels like this writer, this team, these women have no idea that is a possibility.
Considering that what Jessica Gauss says, how she bullies Kevin Feige, and she, treats him like crap. It sounds like she is that person. She's very unprofessional at work. It sounds like she's a whiny bitch who treats Kevin Feige like a piece of shit. So, and that's not very professional. And to come out and actually say that and admit that to people, it just speaks to the type of person that she is. She's like laughing at it. She's laughing at it. I'm a piece of shit at work, and I think it's funny.
Well, these women are getting away with stuff that men never could. No. I dare any man to mock his boss to his face, to call him a pig, to call him a sexist, to call him a racist, to tell him he's trash, to show up late, to leave early, without actually putting in, like, it's one thing if you show up late because you had a doctor's appointment and you leave early because you have an emergency or something, but you just do it because you want to, and you don't put the work in. You don't like double your effort in between that time to try and at least compensate for your paycheck. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. No man, the fact that they want to scream about how sexist and misogynist and privileged men are in Hollywood or in any corporate structure, and then get away with stuff like this, is utterly ridiculous. And they know it. That's the thing too. They know it.
Yeah, they really do. And again, there's no consistency there, especially with this male misogynistic character that they've written, because the way he acts towards what is Jennifer? Jen? The way she
Yeah.
acts towards Jen in the show and Jen's assistant, and it makes me think that that's how he acts towards everyone. Why hasn't he been reported? Why hasn't he been fired? How is he in the position that he's in, considering his attitude?
Yeah.
Most people would have
Well,
been fired by now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and in episode 2, when they're at the bar and stuff, he says that there's a hot chick over there going to go talk to it.
yeah, I'm gonna go talk to it. I don't
Yeah.
consider women. Women are just objects.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the ironic
So
part
he-
about this is it's a bunch of women writing this.
Yeah.
So like that shows you like
Yeah.
that's their attitude about women, and like that's how they men perceive women, is they're like, yeah, that's how I'm been treated. That's how I've been treated. Or
Mhm.
you know, I mean, because you write from experience or you're writing from ignorance. It's got to be one of the two. And they'll never admit that they're writing from ignorance. So then it must be experience, and that must be how they actually see women when they're around, because like that's not a realistic way people talk to other people.
No.
You know,
No,
people
you-
that talk like that in real life
Get their
typically
faces
are not.
rearranged.
Yeah. Or Lady Gravemaster breaks their wrist and holds them hostage until the cops arrive. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just the ridiculousness of that of the writing.
Yeah, and in episode 3, they have like this whole sequence where basically they're showing like the reaction to She-Hulk through like the news, social media, and things like that. And you just like they have like this thing where they scroll and they show like a bunch of comments about
Yeah.
She-Hulk being a character. And they have like, you know, they show like guys saying things like they took Hulk's manhood away and they gave it to a woman, and they say all these ridiculous things on there. And they're making it sound like this is what like everyone, like literally that's what all of the comments were they're showing, and that's
Mhm.
like what the reaction is to a female superhero. But that's not even what the actual problem is that fans have with things like this. Like it doesn't even make sense with the way that they're using it, because it's like a weird male outrage thing that they're doing here, but doesn't accurately represent the criticisms that people have, because it's basically just the idea that they're trying to get across is that men are just angry at female superheroes, but that's not what the problem is.
No, when in this universe, She-Hulk is not the only female superhero.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so like,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like, why would they be angry at this?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they angry at just this one character? It
Yep.
makes no sense.
Well-
and the ironic thing is that what that man said, they took away Hulk's manhood away and they gave it to She-Hulk. That's exactly what the writers did in the very
Yeah.
first episode.
Yeah.
Well, the other funny part about it is it kind of flies in the face of a movie that just recently came out called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because in that movie everybody hates Doctor Strange because they think that he's the reason that Thanos won.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
it's got to be like they're like, oh, everybody, like, we all love the male superheroes and we all hate these female superheroes, but also everybody hates Doctor Strange specifically because he's like a bad superhero, and everybody's like mad at him for what he did, because they literally make a point of trying to make it seem like everybody blames Doctor Strange for what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like this constant inconsistency about what is actually people's opinions and what are people's actual thoughts. But once again, if you're trying to draw comparisons to like the modern world, like it doesn't work unless you actually take the implications of what it would be like. You know, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was never supposed to be reflective of our actual world. It's supposed to be reflective of a world that has superheroes in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's just that ridiculous like inconsistency.
Here's
Go
the
ahead.
thing. Like, even if you take away what is it? Like, even if we took out all of the aspects of being negative towards these female superheroes because of their attitude and their presentation and their double standards and lack of morality, right?
Yeah.
Even if we do that, humans by nature are empathetic.
Mhm.
And if you're going to, in his own show, kick Loki repeatedly in the crotch,
Yeah.
we're going to feel sorry for him. Like, we're going to feel like what you have done to him is disrespectful and wrong, because this isn't the Loki that we've known throughout the entire MCU, right? That did happen in Loki, right? He was repeatedly.
I haven't seen Loki.
Okay.
Mike, you've seen Loki, right?
I've seen the first 3 episodes of Loki, but that's why to Lady Grandmaster's point, that's why I stopped watching, because the first 3 episodes they literally do nothing but shit on Loki. They talk about how dumb he is, and they talk about how he's not as clever as he thinks he is, and how he doesn't actually he isn't actually worth anything. Like the first episode is this whole thing where Loki's trying to figure out what's going on, and he gets his ass kicked by everybody that he runs into, and blah blah blah. And then the end of it is him seeing his death at the hands of Thanos, and basically being told, yeah, you're worthless. Like your life amounts to nothing. You meant nothing to anybody, which is completely antithetical to the fact that Thor loves him despite him being a villain.
Right.
Yeah.
And Odin loved him and adopted him as a child and raised him as his own son because he cared about him. All that stuff. I mean, there was some obvious things about him being adopted to build a bridge between the But still, the idea is that Loki did mean something to people, and he was struggling with his own identity. And then they're like, nope, you don't mean anything. You're a piece of garbage. And I just stopped watching it after that because they just constantly kept shitting on him. And they do that all the time with these male characters. They'll have these new shows come out, and all they do is they shit on all they do is shit on those characters and talk about how stupid they are and how worthless they are. And that's why I'm worried about.
That's why we have Sylvie. We need Sylvie. We need to.
We need female empowerment and female heroes to take over.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So if I don't know how familiar you guys are with history, but but everybody likes to refer to the gladiator games, right? So on average though, even if items were even if attendance was free, it usually costs you something to get in, right? They didn't exactly punch tickets, but people generally would only go to 2 to 4 matches, specifically women, before they just stopped attending, because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the gladiators don't die in every bit. They would survive. They just get the crap beat out of them. Well, you can only watch the same person or the same people get brutalized so many times before you can't stomach it anymore. And so to sit here and watch men be belittled, demeaned, undermined, villainized when they were heroes, and turned into sympathetic, misunderstood individuals when they were actually villains, and to strip them away of masculinity and depth and structure and everything that is essential to their core human or core person or core self, and then just watch that repeatedly bludgeoned over and over, you're going to hate this stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, kind of going back to that. So we're at a point now where they're actually wanting to literally basically bring back Captain America from the dead so that they can shit on his character as well.
Oh god,
I don't know if you but
uncomfortable patriotism facets.
Listen, patriotism is not the same thing as fascism, and these woke communist pieces of crap need to get that through their head. Patriotism is not the same thing as communism. I do not want to go to Josiah's house or Mike's house or Steph's house and take all of their stuff and give it to other people that I think should have it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to redisperse anybody else's wealth. I want to be inspired by those people's hard work or ingenuity or genius or creativity to do something of my own to build myself up to a similar level or better. If this idea that being patriotic, being pro-American, loving this nation, loving this country is anything other than understanding history and how far we've come, not even just in our own history, but in world history, is delusional, and it's a lie.
Yeah.
It is 100% a lie, and I'm sick of this crap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's what they want you to despise your country.
They do. Patriotism is evil nowadays. Yep. It's considered evil. It's considered a sign of hatred to love your country, which is Seriously,
yeah,
which
I mean,
is like the really stupid way of thinking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing. If it's one thing to be, they consider it like they look at it like they're considering like patriotism is you thinking you're better than somebody else, because they can only look in terms of, once again, victimization. And so if you're patriotic and say, I love the country that I live in, and I want to see the best for my country, they interpret that as, well, you want other countries to suffer and other people to suffer. And it's like, that's not how that works at all. Having pride in one's country means like, yeah. And I hope that other people can see us as an example and learn to like grow and succeed like we do. That was always the hope, like with America, is like, I hope other countries can have that too. But the thing is, if you don't look at it like that, you constantly look at like, well, other countries don't have the same problems we do, and everything it's better in all these other countries. When you talk to people from other countries, they're like, it's not. We actually look at you guys and like mock you guys because you had something really good going and then fucked it all up.
Yeah, I mean, it's communism 101 is to make you despise American ideals, and as you continue to despise American ideals, you are inadvertently destroying it and taking away your own freedoms by doing so.
Well, and the thing that kills
and
me,
it's considered progressive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
The thing that really kills me too is they're like, everybody in the world has free speech. Everybody has the same freedoms. I don't know. I can't remember what the name of the show is, like The Press Room or something like that. Oh my God, why can't I think of it? But basically, where he's like, they were like, why is
the
America...
Jeff Daniels speech.
Yeah, Jeff Daniels.
America
speech.
isn't the best.
America isn't the best country. We're third in this. We're ninth in this.
Oh,
we're
that's
12th
right. I
in
did
this.
see that speech. Yeah.
And but I can't remember. It's like The Press Room or The News Press or something like that. I can't remember the name of the movie off the top of my head right now. But he gives that speech, and leftists eat that crap up.
Yeah.
Leftists eat that crap up, and they're like, "See, we're not the best. We're not the best." And
which is funny because it was supposed to be, the idea was supposed to be that he was telling people like, hey, we could do better as a country. Yeah, it's called The Newsroom. Like he was saying like, we're not the best because we've fallen into complacency and stopped being about growth and innovation and stuff. Like, so it was, but like, yeah, Lady G said, like, they'll just America isn't the greatest. And you're like, okay, yeah, but then what's your solution to get us back on track? But they don't have any solutions. They just like to tear things down and watch it burn and laugh and clap about it and glee that it burned. Because if you play the victim all the time, then you're happy to see your oppressors destroyed, not realizing that when you burn down your neighborhood, like you don't have any place to live anymore.
Yeah.
And neither do the people around you,
Yeah. And the thing is, when they're like, every country has free speech, every country has this, every country has that. And it's like, no. In fact, America is the only country where you have it free speech enshrined in the Bill of Rights, in the Constitution. And what blows my mind is that people are unaware of the fact that the Bill of Rights is not the government telling Americans what they're allowed to have. It is the people telling the government what they are not allowed to infringe upon. It's what their government is not allowed to, like, come heck or high water. The government is not allowed to take away your freedom of speech, your freedom to peacefully protest, your freedom of the press, or your freedom to express religion, which means when they threw prayer out of public schools, it is a direct violation of the First Amendment, because you are preventing people from expressing their religion. It's legitimately what it is. And the justification for that is absolutely ridiculous. Now, you don't have to say morning prayer. So just like when we threw out prayer from public schools, any teacher who forced like an atheist child or, a child who didn't really believe to pray, that teacher was also violating that child's First Amendment right.
Yeah.
But but two wrongs don't make a right here. And so the fact that the case in Texas where that coach got fired for having his players kneel and pray before and after each game, and then it came back and it was a violation of the First Amendment, you do not hear that heralded anywhere. You don't hear that. You don't hear that being lauded anywhere, because it's in direct conflict to everything that the leftist narrative is trying to push. They can't use it for anything. They can't touch it. And then when all of this other stuff that happens, where Roe v. Wade, like, to try and remain as non-political as possible in this, all it did was the states get to decide. That's all it did. And so you were actually given more power of choice in that case. I've never seen people be so angry to have more personal responsibility put on them. And then you watch stuff like this and you realize they don't want personal responsibility. They want to be able to go out and party and drink and have unprotected sex with strangers and do all of this depravity and just insane stuff, but then still come home and have someone else done the cleaning, done the cooking, done the paying of the bills, taking care of everything, and they can still just go out and do whatever they want. They want to live in perpetual,
where they don't want any consequences for their actions.
They want,
and that's something that we've talked about a lot on this show, actually, with like disparate and stuff. Is like shame is a very powerful tool in society, you know. But if you get rid of shame because you don't want to ever have to be shamed for something that you've done, if you do something bad or you do something abhorrent and you know that people are going to come back at you for it, then you're less likely to continue to do that stuff. But if you constantly legislate out shame and make it so that you never have any consequences because daddy government's going to protect you, then you can continue on doing what you want to do and not realizing that the negative of constantly trying to get everybody else to kind of fall in line with what you're doing, you know, actually harms society as a whole. Because you're telling people like the best way to do something is to have no consequences for your actions, which isn't how life works, because not even just interacting with other people, but just in general, life has consequences. I eat a lot of pizza. I am now fat. It is what it is. Like, it's what happens. I can't legislate that I can't legislate that. I can't make it so that pizza gets punished for making me fat. Like, I don't, I mean, it's just how that works. But in society today, we even have that. It's like, well, you can be fat and healthy. It's like, well, nobody said everybody has to have a six-pack. But that's what they're arguing, is that if you don't have a six-pack, that like everybody's saying if you don't have a six-pack, then you're not healthy. It's like nobody ever said that. What they said was like, maybe Lizzo could lose like 80 pounds and be healthier than she was.
But then you would be fat shaming and be considered fat phobic.
Yeah. Or what they did with Adele. What they did with Adele, she lost a ton of weight because she wanted to be healthy, and they were mad at her. They're like,
mad at her.
"You bitch! How dare you go to the gym?"
Our existence, and I'm like, no, you're still here. You're literally yelling at her. You're still here. Like, and the thing that they love until I like present them with facts, when they're like, what about football? Like, what about those linemen, those defensive and offensive linemen? I'm like, have you seen their diets and their workout routines? Those men are that big. That's not that's not a beer belly on them.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. They assume that. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, those guys they may be big, but it's even like sumo wrestlers. These guys have some like fat on their body, but those are like some of the best in shape people in the world. They're some of the physically strongest people in the world and stuff. Like, I'm like, I want you to actually like try to go up and like talk to Uche in person and see like that dude is not like out of shape. That dude's a scary human being. Like, these guys are like peak, But once again, that's how they look at it. They're like, well, see, you can be healthy and it's like, that's not even the argument. The argument is it's good to be healthy. You don't have to.
It's pretty insane that we've gotten to a point where that's controversial to say that.
Right. And and like the world honestly need more. The world needs more Steve Rogers. Like, not even Captain America's, though I would be all for it. But like, again, and I think I've actually brought this up on this stream too. Steve Rogers was that man. He was that. He was heroic. He was self-sacrificing. He was considerate. He was patriotic before he ever got that injection. Yes. He threw himself on a grenade to try and save his other brothers while they were in training. He was already that way. And that was the spark. So it wasn't that he was the fastest. It wasn't that he was the strongest, the tallest, or anything like that. Granted, they didn't know exactly what effects the injection would have, but they knew it would make him, more superhuman. But because he was so small, they even, I think in the first Captain America, they even say, like, are we sure this is even going to work? Like, with him, because he's so small.
He lied. He lied to try and get into the military. He lied. He tried so many times. He was about to, be. He lied, and there are consequences of lying, but he wanted to do his part.
He wanted to
Mhm.
help. He wasn't
Yeah,
lying
exactly.
because he wanted. Yeah, and I love because that's in that movie. That's the thing. He goes like, he's like, yeah, I lied. He goes, it's the 7 or the 5 tries that I'm more interested in. Like, why do you keep trying to get in here?
Yep.
I need to figure
Yeah.
out what the whole point of your character is. And that's
Right.
the thing, because the whole idea of Captain America, it's funny because there was this argument about that when I made the mistake of saying that Sam Wilson was Falcon. And people were like, well, Captain America he handled the mantle down. And I'm like, well, actually, the thing is, Steve Rogers doesn't become Captain America without the super soldier serum, but anybody else that gets a super soldier serum doesn't become Captain America either.
Boom,
They
right
are
there.
you have to have both to make the one. But yes, it was Steve Rogers' character that made him Captain America and made him the like shining beacon that we had for him as a character. But like, if he doesn't get the potion, he dies because he's a 90-pound asthmatic
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
who couldn't pick
Exactly.
up a gun, But
Yeah.
the concept, the idea was like that he was a good person and he was resourceful and resilient, and that he was the guy that it didn't matter what his body was. But like, the potion will take care of all the deficiencies he has. He has to be good in everything else.
Yes.
The stuff
yes.
that the intangible.
Now it's just like, if
they
you have
sit
the
down-
shield, you're Captain America. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
that's
it's
not
not,
how that
the
works.
shield. Yeah, and like, do you guys remember the scene? Like, this is still, to me, out of all the Marvel films, and granted, I love Thor: Dark World. Actually, it's one of my favorites because it shows a whole bunch of other stuff. But
That's
my
the first time I've
favorite,
ever heard anybody say that.
I
I actually
do
like
Thor:
it
Dark World.
too. I like it too.
Love you, Steph.
There's things I like
see
about Thor:
Soul
The Dark World
Sisters.
for sure.
But my
Yeah.
favorite scene out of every single Marvel film, out of every single one, it is in the first Captain America, and they sit down. The doctor walks in. I can't, for the life of me now, I can't think of his name. Sits
Mhm.
down on the bed, and he pulls out the stuff, and he goes, you have to be good because this serum will make a bad person evil.
Yeah.
And will make a good person great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like, he sits down and he explains that all this does, it's almost like winning the lottery nowadays. Have you guys ever heard that it doesn't change who you are, it just enhances who you've always
Who
been?
you already were. Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what
That's
this
exactly it.
serum. That is what this serum does.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is still to this day, and there's been some great phase, like Iron Man. Oh my God, Iron Man! That movie is fantastic. And there's some fantastic scenes in it, and everything. But that scene in Captain America where he sits down and he explains that you weren't chosen because you could shoot it wasn't your physical attributes
Mhm.
that we were looking at.
Yep.
It
Exactly.
was who you were as a person
Yep.
You're a good
that
man.
we were
Yeah.
seeking. And
The
it's like, oh
Yeah.
God dang.
yeah the scene where they toss the grenade and he jumps on it
Mhm.
is one of my favorite scenes.
I
in
love
all
that
of
scene.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I love that scene.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Because that was
Yeah.
exactly it. He was a good man on the inside, and that's what mattered. And like, because
Yep.
even the conversation behind Sam Wilson and stuff, my biggest thing is he doesn't have to stop being Falcon to have the shield.
Mhm.
Why do you have to become Captain America to have the shield? Like,
Mhm.
he could have stayed Falcon. I like Falcon, and it would have been dope to have Falcon have the shield.
Yeah.
Heck, you could have given Falcon the super soldier serum, and I would have been fine with it. Doesn't mean he has to stop being who he is. But that's
Mhm.
the thing.
Exactly.
This whole mantle idea. What they don't realize is that it consumes what the person was before
Mhm.
to make something now. It's like if somebody was a good person and a good dude, and you give them a super soldier serum and give them the shield, it doesn't make them Captain America, because Captain America was never designed to be a mantle. It was
Yep.
designed
Exactly.
specifically for Steve Rogers. And so if somebody else takes on the idea, the concepts of Steve Rogers and says, hey, he inspired me, you can still be a superhero and still hold that shield and carry his legacy behind you without needing to take his name. It doesn't make any sense, because the thing is, people didn't just call Captain America. They also called him Steve Rogers because the world knew his identity,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but that I think that's sometimes what's missing is the idea of a mantle instead of legacy, because I think mantle destroys legacy, because like,
Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
I have not seen the
Falcon and Winter
Gosh.
Soldier.
No. This new Thor movie, what is it called?
No, not Ragnarok.
Love and
Uh,
Thunder.
Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
God, I can't even remember the name of it. That's how bad this is.
Yeah.
I've not seen it, but I have seen clips, and it's the one where where Gore is just letting her hit him with Mjolnir, and she's yelling at him, and is like, the name is female Thor, and if
She
that's
says female
too-
Thor.
yeah. And she's like, and if that's too difficult for you to remember, the other name I will accept is Dr. Jane Foster.
That is
And-
so stupid.
Oh,
Someone
it's-
wrote that.
Somebody wrote that. And then
Yeah.
she said it.
Yep.
And then she said, eat my hammer. Except she
Oh,
tried to
no.
make it sound way more epic than it actually was. Like,
Yeah.
no, it missed every mark.
Yeah.
So Gore is
Wow.
just letting her hit him. He's not saying anything in response. He's standing there like a good, compliant practice dummy so that she can get her hits in and get her lines in.
Nice.
And it's so boring to watch, and also terrible, terrible dialogue. But to Mike's point, you are exactly right. She took up the mantle of Thor, but then also still tried to have her own identity as Dr. Jane Foster by making
Oh. Uh-oh.
The
a
Gravemaster
film
disappeared.
about the fact
there.
that oh sorry yeah I have a short in one of my wires, and if I bump it it goes blah. But
Gotcha.
but basically, from what I understand, this film was about her taking up the mantle of Thor. Okay, but you just said, Mike, if you take up a mantle, it consumes and destroys who that
The
person
legacy.
was.
Yeah,
and
because
she was
yeah.
yeah,
It-
she was still trying to be like, she was still trying to be Dr. Jane Foster and female Thor. It's like, no, if you take up that mantle of Thor, you're not Dr. Jane Foster anymore. You gave that
You
up
become Thor. Yeah.
to become Thor. That
Which means you're beholden to what Thor before did, not what it's not the vice versa. You
Yeah.
don't get to take it up and ignore what happened before. You have to be beholden to what Thor was before. You have to be as good, if not better, than what he was, or else you tarnish that legacy.
Mhm.
Or you tarnish the mantle. Because the idea is like, you know, my grandfather was a World War II veteran, and he did a lot of really good stuff, and he was very active in the community that we lived in, and he did a lot of great stuff for a lot of people that we didn't find out until later, years after he passed. Like, my grandfather being a good dude doesn't mean that I need to now change my name to what my grandfather's name was and say, now I'm my grandfather and I have to carry the mantle of my grandfather.
Mhm.
It's because he left a legacy for me that I can go, okay, cool. I am inspired by what he did before. And so
Mhm.
I'm going to carry that on with my name, and my last name, you know, is his last name. And that part of it is awesome, but I don't have to change my name to be him. I don't have to call myself the next, what my grandfather's name was or whatever. You know, like, I don't have to become Captain America to continue his legacy. If the shield is his legacy, then all I have to do is carry the shield and do right by it. Which is like Captain America, when he gave the shield to Sam, never said, hey, let's get rid of who you were and become Captain America.
Mhm.
He goes like, it doesn't feel like it's mine. He goes, well, it is, because I gave it to you. But he never asked him to stop being Sam. He never asked him to start calling himself Steve Rogers. That was never the idea. So
Yep.
yeah, man.
Yeah, so let's see. So basically with this I thought this was pretty. So this is apparently something about Captain America that is coming from WDW Pro, who has been a pretty reliable source when it
Yeah.
comes to things in the past from Marvel. WDW Pro then recalled how they were told that the reason for bringing back Chris Evans as Steve Rogers potentially was because some at Marvel were concerned that Captain America was being used by conservatives and MAGA types as a pro-nationalist superhero icon.
Yeah, they don't like people wearing the shield, a Captain America T-shirt at like MAGA rallies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's
Well,
that's
that's
what
why they
Captain America is. He is a pro-nationalist icon. That's
He
the whole
is.
point of
Well,
him. You know?
This is the same reason that they don't want you to use the Punisher. They changed
Yeah.
the Punisher logo because of
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yep.
It's ridiculous.
And now it
It's
just looks like a great horned owl. And I will not
Yeah.
change my stance on that. They just made it a
fine.
great horned owl.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. The other thing, this kind of ties
Sorry.
into the whole,
Sorry.
destroying legacies type of thing too, as well. Is that in this She-Hulk episode 3? So basically,
Oh, hold
the
on. Real
actual-
quick. Sorry, real quick. I
What's that?
like how people would not accept Sam Wilson as Captain America. Chris Evans had to go in there and say that he is Captain America.
Yeah,
Sam
he's
Wilson
Captain America.
is
Yeah.
Captain America. Like he had to go and say that. The
Yeah.
actor had to
And the
go in
thing
there
is,
and
what-
say that.
Yeah, well, the thing too is it's not Chris Evans that we love; it's Steve Rogers.
Yes.
So,
it's
like,
Steve
for Chris
Rogers.
Evans to say that doesn't give it any weight, and they recognized that issue. So, like, they had Chris Evans come in and say it instead of Steve
Mhm.
Rogers because they're like, well, maybe this will have more weight. Because in Avengers Endgame, I've seen the clip where he says, "I like this one," where Thor says, "I like this one" to Captain Marvel, right? Or is that Infinity? No, that's
Infinity.
Endgame. It's Infinity. Okay.
No, it's Endgame.
It is
Yeah,
Endgame.
it's Endgame.
Okay.
It's
Yep.
Endgame.
So they had Thor give the stamp of approval onto Captain Marvel, and it didn't work. And they
Yeah.
knew that. They saw that. They're like, okay, well, if they're not going to take it off based off the word of a character, because Thor's a beloved character, so his stamp of approval should work. It didn't work because Captain Marvel is terribly written and terribly executed, and Brie is an insufferable actress who makes
Mhm.
Captain Marvel come across as an insufferable superhero who is a self-centered piece of trash.
Mm-hmm.
She's a bitch. Just say it like it is.
Well, but
She's
so
a
they're like-
rude bitch.
So then
Yeah,
they're like, okay, well, if it didn't work for Captain Marvel, then we'll just have
Chris
we'll
Evans
have
come
the
back.
real Chris Evans. We'll have the real Chris Evans say that no, he is Captain Marvel now,
Yeah.
and that
And it
didn't work either.
No, so now they have to bring the character back because we need
Mhm.
Steve Rogers' seal of approval.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Got to canonize it.
Well, everyone, I know this has been a good discussion, but we have to talk about something else that's really important. It's kind of an elephant in the room.
Your hair.
Speaking of destroying legacies, there was a show that came out. A lot of people probably didn't hear about it. I know it's kind of obscure. It was called Rings of Power, I think is what they called it. So that dropped this weekend, the first 2 episodes of that. It's based on a really small book property that was written years and years and years ago by some racist British guy, I think it was, called Lord of the Rings. And they decided to like resurrect this dead franchise and adapt it recently. I don't know, I think some people had thoughts on it or something.
I
think-
wouldn't know. I wouldn't know if anybody had thoughts on them because they won't allow them to
Yeah.
speak their thoughts.
Yeah.
They've blocked people from giving their opinions. and
Amazon
thoughts, so
prevented
I wouldn't
users
know.
from leaving feedback until 72 hours after the premiere. 72 hours because they're like, we're trying to stop these dang trolls. We're certainly not trying to make people watch our stupid show. Oh my
There you go.
dude.
There it
Review
is.
bombing from trolls. So what if the review bombing had been nothing but 10-star or 5-star reviews? Would they have stopped it then?
no, they wouldn't have. That's
No,
the
of
thing.
course
not. Of course not.
They need 72 hours to get those positive review bots up. Like that's what they're working on now.
It
Yeah.
will never be.
I got to see I got to see the number before they took that down the night that Rings of Power came out. And when I saw it, it was like 1 star on Amazon.
as it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
once
then
again,
it
it's
suddenly
always
just magically disappears.
it's
Imagine
always
that.
review bombing when it's negative towards something.
Yeah.
You know, but once again, there were critics that were giving it 1 star. There are
Yeah.
critics that were saying, listen, Daily Mail said it was garbage.
Yeah.
They gave it a
that's
1
the
star.
difference. That's the difference
Entertainment Entertainment Weekly gave it a C-.
Yep.
And they were being generous because they
They're
said it
being
was a
very-
catastrophe.
Very
Yeah, there's
generous.
a difference here. You can't just call it review bombing because I think like Rings of Power is something that's it's new, right? This is unprecedented. There's so much negativity surrounding this show. And that hasn't really happened before. People downvoted that trailer, all the trailers, every single
Mhm.
one of them. They downvoted them so fucking hard.
Yep.
And they ignored it. They ignored all of that, and they said that people are excited. People are so excited about Rings of Power. They ignored all the negativity towards it. And now that the show's coming out, we have some trolls now. Where did they come from? Where did all of these trolls magically come from? Because from what I've heard from the people that are promoting this, everybody's excited for it. So where did these trolls come from? And
Yeah.
now they've disabled the comments. They've not let people like give their opinions on Rings of Power. Spoiler alert, it's not good. It is
Yeah.
trash. It's nothing compared to the Lord of the Rings franchise. But this right here, now they don't have the media to like put these articles out, because even the media is
Mhm.
saying the show is really bad. The show sucks.
Well,
Even
and
they
Rotten
can't fall back on the media.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes is hiding anything under a 3, like under a, what is it? A 3 out of 5. They're hiding it,
Yeah.
and IMDb is deleting comments. Like they have to.
Yep.
They are running. I want to know what the budget is to run this kind of defense for
It's a
this
lot of
project,
money.
because
It's a
this has got
lot
to
of
be.
money.
This has got to be digging into their stuff, like
It's a
into
lot of
their
money.
coffers.
Yeah, hundreds,
Mhm.
millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well,
but they got to protect the narrative that
Yeah.
they've built around this. And it's funny because literally like right as Rings of Power was dropping, you saw all of these articles that were being written that were starting to be produced by the shill media that were saying things like, oh, fans of Lord of the Rings breathe a sigh of relief when they watch Rings of Power. And it like literally like as soon as the show was dropping, they were coming out with these articles, which were
Yeah.
totally not pre-written at all. Totally
No,
not.
and once like the review embargo lifted as well, you saw the
Mhm.
articles say that were negative from the
Yep.
media, that were negative, like people that were given access to it, that were writing articles beforehand for this show praising it, are now saying, oh yeah, it was kind of trash though. It
Yeah,
was
well,
really
that's the
bad.
thing. Even some of the more positive ones were praising the visual effects, the cinematography, and all that stuff, but saying, well, the writing is a little lacking, but it might get better. We
And
don't
where have
know.
we
It's still
heard that?
early.
Where have we
Yeah,
heard that?
I've
Ryan
heard that a lot.
Johnson's The Last Jedi. It was
Yeah.
Mhm.
beautiful. It looked beautiful, but the writing fucking sucked.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
didn't think this
And
looked beautiful.
I think
would even.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I
Well,
agree with you,
I think
lady.
I think from this top, that's the thing, like, because I know people kind of are very curious, and I think it's interesting because there is, I think, within the community of people that are being honest and really sharing what they feel, there are some people that enjoyed the show for what it was and aren't comparing it to the movies, or maybe haven't read the books, things like that. And one of the things that me
We
and
have
Josiah
very low
talked about,
standards for script writing and everything else. Yeah. Yep.
well, one of the things me and Josiah were talking about is, if this was an original IP with no attachments, no prior comparisons to Lord of the Rings, it was just its own IP, it'd be like a 6 or 7 out of 10. It wasn't the worst show, but the thing is, the standard was going to be high because we've all read great stories in Lord of the
Mhm.
Rings. We've seen the movies the books adapted extremely well. Probably the best adaptation we'll ever see from book to screen in the
Yep.
Peter Jackson's films, barring the Hobbits. But like, we watched quality be made, and we watched people relish in the beauty and care that was put into that. And that was always going to be the legacy. Amazon knew getting into this that was going to be the case, and they tried really hard to say, we're not going to compare it to Jackson's trilogy. It's obvious that they have like nods to Jackson's trilogy in the series, so there was always going to be a high bar. And that's the thing we should always expect from adaptations, is for them to do their best, to put their best foot forward. And it is very, very apparent that they did not put their best foot forward, and that's why we think it's trash. That's why the show isn't good compared to what came before. It's always going to be looked at in the shadow of Lord of the Rings, of the books, of the appendices, of the Silmarillion, all of it.
As it should be.
Yeah.
As
And
it should be,
speaking of,
because that is what they are trying, like, for anybody curious I've said this so much lately, but anyone curious what a grift is, for anyone who is curious about what a grift is, this is a grift. Amazon took a property. They took the established reputation, the established adoration, the established fan base, and they were like, we're going to make something new in this universe that you all love, and it's going to be fantastic. And you're all, it's going to blow your mind, right? And then when they didn't deliver, it's because, COVID, or oh trolls, or oh this, or it's haters. It like everybody's gonna compare it to the Jackson trilogy, which we're not trying to do, even though 2 months prior to that you said it's on par with the Jackson trilogy. Like you can't
Yeah.
have this both ways. That is what Amazon is doing. This is a grift. This is a grift.
You can't help but compare it to Jackson's trilogy because it's an established IP. Fans of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are going to, just like fans of Star Wars are going to, they're going to compare the prequels, or not the prequels, the sequels, to everything that's come before. House of the Dragon right now, people are talking about House of the Dragon and comparing it to Game of Thrones. You can't have like an established IP and then create something off of that and not have that comparison. You can't help but do that. Fans of it are not going to be able to like help themselves. They're going to do that. And I can't remember who said, but like Mike brought up The Hobbit. I can't remember what reviewer I was watching. It could be someone on this panel. I don't remember. But they said something to the effect of, I wonder if, because they watched Rings of Power, the first 2 episodes, and they hated it. They were like, it's terrible. It doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings at all. But I wonder if, because of so much shit that the Hobbit movies got, if now with this new show out, if people are just like with the Disney sequel trilogy, people grew to respect the prequels a lot more compared to the shit that we got. If people are going to respect the Hobbit trilogy more now that this trash is being put out,
I mean, that's a very good point, Steph, because whenever you have like kind of like the peak film in an IP, like they do the same thing with like people do the same thing with like Batman as well. Like, pretty much every Batman film that comes out is like people compare it to like The Dark Knight and some of those types of films that are some of the best of the franchise, or
it's the
the
same
IP.
with characters. Just the same with just characters. We have a new Batman. We're going to compare it to a different Batman. We have a new Joker. We're going to compare it to every other Joker that's coming.
You have a new Spider-Man. You compare it to the other Spider-Man. And
do you know who got the most? Even when they announced that it was, man, I'm having a problem with names today. Heath Ledger was going to be Joker. I remember everybody was like, "There's no way he can do this. Pretty Boy isn't going to be able to nail this." Bar none.
I was totally on board.
Bar none. Okay, but the majority of people were not, Steph. I think you can agree with that. Like, most people were like, "There's no way. He doesn't have it in him." And he is now the Joker that they compare all Jokers to.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And so there was no subversion of expectation. There was no undercutting. There wasn't, like, he played that to a T. And then the only other character casting that I've seen that had as much, if not more, concern and hate, honestly, was when they announced Ben Affleck as Batman. It was very split. You had half saying he can do this, and you had the other half saying, look at what happened with Daredevil. Now, granted, Daredevil, I actually like Daredevil. I think that
you're the one.
Mike? I'm the one. I'm the one, and I'll stand by it. I actually like Daredevil solely because the scene where he is, I think that there is one scene in that movie that actually captured Daredevil very well. And it is where he beats up the lackeys or whatever for Kingpin, and he's like, "Stay out of Hell's Kitchen," and he turns around and the kid is terrified and crying in the rain, and Daredevil is like, "I'm not going to hurt you," and the kid is still just like terrified of him, and then he just kind of like, Ben Affleck played that that scene is fantastic. And Mike, shut your face. And but like that, like for me, because that encapsulated the struggle that he had inside of himself. And so I was like, I think if he has good direction, and granted, he has at this point had way more experience. I got so much hate when I said I'm concerned about it because I saw what happened with Daredevil, but I'm actually interested because I know he's a huge comic book fan. I know he's a huge Batman fan, and I think he wants to do this justice. And he is by far the best Batman Bruce Wayne combo that we've ever gotten, because usually you get, like with Christian Bale, he did Batman really well, but not so much, in my opinion, Bruce Wayne, at least if we want to compare against comic books, right?
Mhm.
And so, like, and if you go back, even Val Kilmer, I think, was a better Bruce Wayne, but not as good of a Batman. Like,
He's
didn't
way
really
too soft spoken.
yeah, like
Yeah,
didn't
Val
really
Kilmer was a great Bruce Wayne.
yes,
Yeah, he
fantastic,
criminally underrated, but
very, very.
well,
But
I have a story real quick, Lady G, because
oh,
Josiah
I
knows
talk
this.
too much.
No, you're good. I have a story. So I am not a fan of Ben Affleck. Josiah and Ben both know this. If I was driving on the street and I saw him and he was in front of my car, I'd swerve slightly, but try to clip him on the way by. I wouldn't run him over directly though. That's a joke I've made a lot. But this is the thing. So I still remember it to this day. It was a huge announcement. They're like, they announced Batman. They announced the casting for Batman. It's finally here. Like, we're going to find out who Batman is in Batman versus Superman. And I was sitting here at the computer and I looked at my wife and I was like, I made the joke. And this was 100% honesty. I had no idea who it was. I didn't even know he was in the running. I said, hey, pretty sure as long as it's not Ben Affleck, I'll be happy with whoever they cast.
No.
And I
Did
clicked
you really?
it, and I'm 100%. I'm not even kidding you. I was like, as long as it's not Ben Affleck, I'll probably be happy with whoever they cast. And then his name popped up, and I yelled. I was like, no! How could they do this? The one guy I didn't want, like the one guy. I was like, please don't do it. I was like, no, I cannot believe they did this. My wife was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, this is the worst.
Why
And
do you
then, you know
hate
what?
Ben Affleck?
I don't know. It's a thing.
He also has this weird thing against Jake
Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal as well,
Yeah.
and I don't understand.
Between the two of them, I don't like Ben Affleck more than I don't like Jake Gyllenhaal. But I will say this, because this is the part that scared me. I watched Batman. I actually thought Ben Affleck was a good Batman.
Yeah.
He might be I think in the list of Batman like portrayals, he's probably my favorite Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I think that had he got cast a little bit younger and had like a before the Dark Knight Returns portrayal of Batman, I also would have liked him. I thought that he played the character well. I thought he played a cynical, broken Bruce Wayne pretty well. But I mean, that's the thing. He shocked me. He surprised me a lot.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more of his Batman, and every time he's shown up as a Batman, I've appreciated the portrayal that we've gotten from him. But now he's risen slightly above where Jake Gyllenhaal is as far as my actors that I don't like.
It's because
like-
he landed J-Lo, isn't it? That's why you're like,
that
damn,
probably-
he
that
landed her
prob-
twice. He got her twice.
That's probably part of it, yeah. But that's the other thing too, is like I think that we've had some really great portrayals of Batman. We've had more good than we've had bad of Batman. You know, I think Keaton did a great job as Batman.
Yes.
Val Kilmer did a great job in the role as a whole, because you have to take Batman and Bruce Wayne. Keaton was really good. Kilmer was really good. Clooney was the worst.
Oh, yeah,
hands down.
Clooney was definitely at the bottom.
Here's
Huh?
He was just Clooney. Clooney
Yeah,
was just
Yeah.
and even Clooney's like, he said, I remember him saying in an interview, he goes, I will never not apologize for that role. When people see me on the street, he's like, I'm sorry I did Batman. I'm sorry.
Well, and
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I think Batman and Robin is actually one of my guilty pleasures, because the cheesy one-liners from Freeze will never not be just hilarious.
Everybody,
cool
Shit.
party.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
cool
because
party.
it's Schwarzenegger. Like, Schwarzenegger was Schwarzenegger in blue, and like Clooney was just Clooney with bat nipples, right? So
Yeah.
but
I like Uma Thurman too.
she's actually my favorite.
I very
My
much like her.
vibes have a crush on you.
I love her portrayal. Like,
I
Uma
liked her for a
Thurman-
lot of different reasons, but yes, I did.
I loved her Poison Ivy. I honestly think it's the best live action adaptation of Poison Ivy. And
her costumes were awesome too.
her costumes were fantastic. Like,
She
that's
totally
they
played
were.
into that. She knew.
I
she knew
very
what it
much
was.
liked her
She
costumes.
knew
I
what
loved
it
them.
was, and she played into it.
As a young
did.
man
She
watching those,
didn't-
I was very
if
invested in her
everyone-
costumes. Yeah.
If everyone on scene or on set had put as much heart into their characters, or even half as much heart as Uma put into Poison Ivy, it would have been a completely different show.
Oh
But
yeah.
you're right, Steph. Like, what Clooney's greatest sin is what The Rock is currently doing, and The Rock's getting away with it because it's these action movies that he's typecast for. But
Mhm.
Clooney showed up and was just Clooney. He put on
Yeah.
the cape and cowl, and he was still just Clooney. And then
And the bat credit card. We can't
and
forgive him for
that's
that
what I'm
one.
saying. Like he put on
Why
the
don't
cape
you
and
just-
cowl,
About it.
Charge it.
charge
Yeah,
it. I never leave
home
the
without-
cave without it. And I'm like,
It's like, oh.
listen, y'all, listen.
Josiah, what have you done?
Let's go.
All right,
Oh,
it's time.
no.
Let's
It's
do
time.
this.
We
Hell
need to make
yeah.
our official Epic Verse live tier list for Batman.
Ben
I'm
is going to be
completely
so mad
biased.
that
I
he's
don't
not
think
here
you
for
can-
this.
Well, the
And I'm
funny
glad.
thing about Ben is that was it Ben? Never mind. No, it was Jeff. I remember that we were talking about Batman when we were down in Florida, and it was Jeff, I think, who said that he's only ever seen 2 Batman films.
What?
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. But so that's something that we'll have to rectify. But
Indeed.
I am clearly a Batman fan. If you haven't,
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
have
It's so
not
funny that we
noticed-
said that because I was actually like, I showed up like late before we got started, and I was gonna ask Josiah if I had more time to do this. So like
Really?
Josiah and me are,
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
dude,
look at
because
that.
I knew Steph was a huge Batman fan, and I was
I'm-
like, this would be a good one to do this. And
let's
obviously we have
go.
Lady G here.
Mike,
So,
Mike
like-
and I are riding those waves.
Oh,
Let's,
I'm also
okay.
a massive Batman fan, so you can't give any of the like because I am a fan. I am slightly biased. I don't
Now,
think that
are,
I don't
are we
think.
going to include
I'm gonna
the
make everyone
Batman
so
the
mad.
animated series?
Oh,
yeah, are we
if
including Batman the animated series?
I don't think they have those on this list.
Okay, I will say this:
here.
it's not fair. It's S tier, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
S
Yeah,
tier.
yeah.
Batman
That
is
is S tier for
I was
sure.
gonna say because we have the Lego Batman, we need Batman.
we
the
do
animated
have
series.
Yeah.
Lego Batman, but we don't have any of the animated films.
Sadly,
Batman the
I
animated
would-
series is the best out of
And
all.
we don't have
Yes,
Adam West
far
Batman
none.
either.
All right.
I don't.
We
see
don't. Yeah,
Adam
we don't have Adam West. I would have to say Lego Batman is going to probably beat out Batman and Robin. Batman, who I don't actually see Batman and Robin on here. Am I blind?
I don't see it. No.
Dang,
No,
dude, we're just
it's not even
what are
on
you
It's
there.
right
doing?
there. Yeah, it's in
Where?
between.
Where?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, there's Freeze. Okay. Well,
Oh,
it's
is this
very
a weird
small on my
picture?
screen.
Yeah, I know it's kind of annoying.
Well, other thing is, I noticed it's not really TV series on here, and Batman, like Adam West, was a TV series. I know he had a movie.
Yeah,
They
that's
were
right.
mostly
Okay, these are
TV
all movies,
series.
That is true.
So we'll at the end we'll talk about the TV series as well.
There you go.
Because I think we
There
should
you go.
include those. But yeah, let's start at the top, Josiah.
Yeah. So, do you want to
sorry,
start with
before
the
we-
go
let's-
left
let's
right
go
or?
Can I ask
Ooh.
one question? Are we rating it solely? Are we including our consideration of what we think of the movie as a whole, or are we simply rating Batman in the movies? Because
Ooh, that's a
gonna
good question.
That's going
Mm.
to change things.
Yeah, that is true.
Is it definitive rank of Batman or is it definitive rank of the movies?
Yeah.
Ooh, that is a good question.
We gotta decide on that
I
right
think
now.
Just saying.
I think the movies. We'll go with movies.
Movies.
Okay, we'll go with movies.
Oh,
Okay.
As a whole,
All
we have to-
right. Steph and I
Yeah.
were hoping for the other, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll start. We'll just go left to right here. So we
Mhm.
have Justice
Let's
League.
go oldest to do it. Let's go.
Josiah won't even be able to figure that
I
out.
was like,
Oh.
is Josiah going to know which one's which? We'll just go left to right. We'll make it easy.
Okay,
on
left,
Josiah.
right.
Yeah.
Is
Because
this
wait, hold on a
okay.
second here. Let me make sure I've seen all of these.
Because that's the Snyder cut on the left, and then Justice League, the Joss Whedon
Yeah,
cut, is
Justice
the
League,
fourth
yeah.
from the right, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Justice
so
League.
Justice
S tier.
League.
S tier.
S tier.
Well,
Mm,
okay.
I'd
let's
give
not
it
get-
an A.
let's-
I would
let's
give it
not
an
get
A.
Crazy. Let's not
I'd
get
give it an
crazy
S
here.
tier. I freaking love that
Defend.
movie.
Defend,
What,
Mike.
but isn't this Zack Snyder's Justice
Yeah.
League?
Yeah,
that's
Zack
Zack
Snyder's
Snyder's
Justice League.
Justice League.
Listen,
Oh,
first of
there's
all, I
Justice,
love
yeah. Okay.
that. Listen, I get that the movie's 4 hours, and a lot of people are like, "It's so long." There are a lot of movies that used to be that long that people didn't complain about back in the day when movies. It felt like an experience to me. I thought that the storyline was significantly better. Batman had a lot more to do in this movie, and he seemed
Mhm.
much like less like a whiny bitch than he is in Justice League's version. He seems like he's actually trying to work together to do this. He's also he's a big part of the driving plot in this film. And as a whole, listen, Henry Cavill in that black suit should be enough to make it S tier, but if it's not, that should, we also got rid of some of the silly jokes. We didn't
We got
have
rid of the
Ezra
jokes.
Miller
Batman
putting
is
his
not. Yeah,
yeah.
Batman is not the butt of all of the jokes.
yeah. We
Yeah.
didn't have Ezra Miller motorboating Gal Gadot in the film.
Mm.
Also, and I will say this because this is where I really fell in love with specifically the Zack Snyder version of Justice League. The scene with Cyborg where he gives that mother the money because he sees her. like almost brought me to tears. It
Oh, yeah.
almost it got me a little choked up when he's
every
like,
single
watching her.
character in Zack Snyder's Justice League has their story, has their arc, and it all melds well together when they become a team.
Mhm.
That's my argument for S tier.
So good, yeah.
And also,
Can
it was
I-
done for the
Yes,
fans.
Yes,
It was
is
done for the
long.
fans.
Yes,
Can I
it
give
is
my
long, but it is also separated in parts. Where if you don't want to watch the
Don't
whole
just-
thing in one sitting,
Hold on.
you can watch it in parts.
Okay, that's
See-
fair. I hear you. My rating for it is not because of the length, and it is not because there weren't some good scenes in it. One, we're not rating by Batman's, so that is going to definitively change my ranking on this film slightly because we're doing the film. It is 300, but in goth, like it's 300.
No!
Yeah, it is.
No, it is not.
Sure it is.
No!
Spartans, what is your profession?
Okay, listen. Hold on.
What are you afraid of, Amazons?
Listen,
Nothing.
I don't want to.
It's the
I
same
never.
scene.
I
It's
never
the
want to draw
same
the
that-
ire.
That
of-
gives that scene is done incredibly well.
It is,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah,
done
the music,
incredibly well in 300.
the music.
Zack
speaks
Snyder-
so
listen,
many powerful
Zack
I don't wanna
Snyder has
draw-
proven that he is like he does it very, very well, and I'm not knocking one-trick ponies, but Zack Snyder has proven that
Oh my god.
he's a
Listen.
one-trick pony.
Yeah,
Listen,
I
ho-
agree with that.
hold on now.
actually.
Hold on
No,
now.
it is
Okay,
A
listen.
tier. It's
I don't
want
wanna
to
draw
he
the
didn't
ire-
do anything new. He didn't do anything
Okay.
new.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead.
Listen, I don't want to draw the ire of Lady Gravemaster, but I do have to say something,
Go
and I
for it.
hope that this will not get up in an S tier. Lady Gravemaster just defended Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
Mhm.
I don't
didn't
know.
defend it.
I feel like
defend it.
I feel
said-
like that lubes up the Justice League enough to slide it up into S tier. That's just
Not
my
Zack
thoughts.
quite.
on it.
Snyder also did make that terrible Watchmen movie too.
Yeah, but he also made out. No, oh, don't you even fucking dare! Watchmen is a fucking masterpiece of a
It's terrible.
film.
It's an
No,
awful
it is
movie.
not. You literally saw it one time in theaters, like, and then didn't even realize that Watchmen is a fucking masterpiece.
I even watched the extended
How
freaking Watchmen,
dare
and I
you.
didn't
It's one of the
like
most.
it.
It's one of the most
It is-
pretentious movies I've ever seen in my
It
life.
Watchmen is literally
it is
one of the most.
everything post. It is everything from 2017 to 2019. It just got released earlier than everything else. That's
Yeah.
why it looks
No.
visionary and
It is-
different. It
no,
is.
the reason
It
that
is.
Watchmen is like one of the most influential comic books ever made. One of
We're
the
not
most
talking about the
influential
comic
graphic
books.
novels. Hold on. And it was deemed to be unfilmable by the guy that created it. And everybody that has watched Watchmen, the director's cut of it, has said it is a complete and utter honor to what was done before. That is a great adaptation. And it was also a deconstruction of comic book films that we're watching today before the deconstruction was popular.
I mean, there's a lot of things that people have deemed unfilmable, but they still put out shitty movies for
Yeah,
it.
name them. Because
Tolkien,
Watchmen wasn't a
You know-
shitty
Silmarillion,
movie.
and we
Lord of
literally
the
have
Rings.
Rings of Power.
Now
That-
look,
Lord of the
but it's not the
Rings.
Silmarillion, it's Rings of Power.
Yeah,
From the
but Lord of the
appendices.
Rings was also not supposed to after
now
the animated
I have
fiasco.
a question. Yes,
I
Zack
can't believe
Snyder
you
has
fucking
a
just
style. I will
Oh my
admit, Zack Snyder has a style of movie. He does use slow motion. That doesn't make him a one-trick pony. Because
Army of the Dead is terrible,
if
too.
you're going to call every director who has a style a one-trick pony, then there are a lot of
No.
other directors who would be considered a one-trick pony.
No, I am not calling him.
Just
a
put it in
one-trick
fucking
pony.
A and leave it
I'm-
alone. But I cannot believe
All right,
you
good.
dare.
All right, let's
Even
move
the
on
fucking
to.
chat is telling
so
you
we
you're
have-
wrong about Watchmen. How
we
can you
have-
say that, Josiah?
Watchmen is just a horrible movie.
No, it is not. Don't you
dare
just
put
moved
that
it down to
to me.
B.
It isn't. I will.
The more you
concede
defend
to an
Watchmen, the
A
lower
tier,
it's going to go.
but
by.
I
No, no, no,
Okay,
no, no.
lower
That's not how
than A.
that works.
Zack Snyder, Justice League doesn't belong in the B rank.
Even the
I
chat is telling you that Watchmen was good.
I don't
no.
fucking care.
And
Oh
to
my
Steph's
God.
point, I'm not saying it's Zack Snyder's style. I am saying that his delivery is the same. You can have the same style with different
I don't
delivery.
agree.
When you have identical scenes like Spartans, what is your profession? And then you put it next to Amazon's, what are you afraid of? It's the same delivery. It's the same scene, but one is men, one is women. And
Oh my
he
God.
had Mike,
No.
calm down. It's the
No.
same scene. And I have no
No.
problem if it was
Your attacking Zack Snyder brought up Watchmen and brought up Josiah's completely unfair, completely unjustified hatred of Watchmen, and I will have none of it.
See, it has a lot of the same problems that Rings of Power has, because
Don't you fucking dare!
Rings
I
of
would
Power
say
Don't
that-
is
you dare!
Rings of Power is a show where all of these writers are very pretentious and they think they're creating
Oh
super
my
deep
gosh.
dialogue. And Watchmen is the exact same way. They think the movie's super deep, but it's really not. It's very
I cannot
pretentious.
believe you. That is so. You're so fucking wrong.
Wow.
You are legitimately like this is one of the hills I will absolutely die on.
Wow.
So Lego
Like-
Batman.
You
I would give it a C.
Ooh.
Really?
Ooh.
Lego
I was gonna give it
Batman,
an A.
really?
I was gonna
Yeah.
give it an A.
Nope.
No, I'll agree with Lady. I think
Ooh,
it's a C. I'm
yikes.
trying to be
Yikes.
You could average it out
yeah.
and give it a B.
I can't let I enjoyed the movie, but I mean compared to other movies, like I just I give it a C. Like if it's on, I'll change it. You know what I mean?
Mike, thoughts?
I'll give it a B.
What?
I'd give
All right, we'll give it a B.
I'd give Lego Batman a B. It was good, but like I don't know. After I'm watching them a couple times more, like it doesn't stick as much as like Lego Movie. I could watch it as much like a lot. Like
Yeah.
Lego Batman, after watching it like a couple times, or my kids having it on repeat, I was like, okay, I'm kind of bored.
Yeah. Yeah. If the movie's
Yeah.
not sticky, then yeah, it definitely needs to.
I like
so
yeah,
so it's a
sticky
C, not a
movies.
B. A C.
No,
why,
no, no.
why are we going with
B.
what
Because
Mike
I
said?
would say an A. So
Yeah,
that's
so
kind
we've
of
got an A,
Oh,
B,
okay.
and
It's
two
kind of
Ds,
balanced,
so
All
so
right,
it
all right.
averages out to like a B minus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Batman Forever.
Oh.
Oh, I don't know.
We are taking everything into
Do
account
not put
with
that
this movie.
Josiah, get it out
We
of
are
that.
taking
No, it's not
everything
an
into
F.
account. It is definitely not an F tier.
It's a C. It's a C.
Ooh.
It's
It,
definitely
it
not.
had
I
yeah,
would-
Joel
I would
put it in
Schumacher.
D.
Okay,
I
I
would
would-
put it in a D category.
I'd
If
put
we're
it in
taking
a
I would
the
say
whole
D. I was gonna
movie-
say D.
I
if we're
wouldn't say
taking
D
the
because
whole movie,
no,
then
because listen, what
I
Jim
have to
Carrey did a
consider-
great job as the
I have
Riddler.
to consider. No, he did not. How
Yeah,
dare
he
you
did.
say that?
Yeah,
no,
he did a good job
not.
as the Riddler.
No,
Yeah,
he did not.
did.
yeah, he
No,
did.
he
I
did
think
not.
he did. I thought
I
Tommy
also
Lee Jones
think-
as Two-Face,
I also think
Tommy
that the
Lee
whole
Jones,
I thought it was
Tommy Lee
okay.
Jones and Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Riddler and of Two-Face.
Tommy
I
Lee
did not
Jones
like.
as
I
Two-Face
did
was
not
terrible.
like it.
But here's the thing that I want to consider: Val Kilmer, like the whole dive into his psyche and like why he likes
Mhm.
bats and why he's obsessed with that and why he became Batman, and a lot of that because like Joel Schumacher admitted there was like a much more serious take, and the producers wanted the campy take on it. I would give it a C, but if I'm the
I
only
would-
one saying C,
I
then
would
I
give it
think
a
D is
C.
fair
No,
enough. But
I
I
would
wouldn't give it a
a C.
fucking F.
No, it's
No,
definitely not an F.
I
I
give
would
it a
give
D.
Batman Forever a C because I will
I'd
still
give it a D.
maintain if Batman and Bruce Wayne could be separated, if you could rate them separately, he is on par with Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne. Like he is one of the best portrayals of Bruce
Yes,
Wayne
he's one of the best
ever,
portrayals of Bruce Wayne,
if not
100%.
the best portrayal of Bruce Wayne. The issue with that is, and I know that there was some, like, I think he was injured on set, and apparently the suit, because they're trying to go for a specific aesthetic, was really restrictive, so he couldn't actually, like, turn his head. Do not put that in F. That's a D. Forever should be a C, and
What?
Batman and
No.
Robin. Batman
We're
and
still
Robin
on
should be
forever,
D.
Josiah. Put that down.
What?
I
Batman Forever should be a C, and Batman and Robin should
No.
be a D. Because
No.
Alicia Silverstone, guys, did the Batwoman show not make you appreciate Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl? Come on now.
No, it really didn't. It really didn't. If I'm being 100%
I
honest,
mean,
it
I will
really
say
didn't.
this.
And
I
I'm
did
sorry,
appreciate
but Batman Forever has Nicole Kidman, and I just can't get over her character.
that
Her
is
character
true.
is
Nicole Kidman was good
terrible.
in that movie too.
Her character was terrible.
Besides, put it up in the.
I have to
Like,
put
so-
it.
In that?
We're so opposite, me and Mike.
All right.
Listen, Nicole Kidman in that
We're
movie.
gonna keep it in D because I would probably put it in like
Boo.
D minus.
You're
So,
awful.
No.
You're just the worst.
yeah.
It's
Batman.
Um,
I'm sorry. Batman,
Batman
and
and
Robin is an
Robin-
F. It's an F.
It's an
No,
F.
it's not.
Oh, it's an F.
It's a fun
doesn't
F
ma- it
though.
doesn't
It's
matter.
F for
It's
fun.
guilty
Yeah.
pleasure. Yeah,
It's
a
not
fun
an F for fun. Put it at least in the D category.
No, it's not a D though. It's so
Uma
bad.
Thurman is the best.
Yes, she
Poison
is. And as a
Ivy
kid, I very much
ever.
enjoyed watching her in those outfits, and I had a great time as a kid.
See,
And
I
even as an adult,
cosplayed as her. I think I
It
still
was a
have
fun
my
time.
cosplay
Yeah.
outfits.
F movies
like-
can be fun.
listen,
F
I
movies
just don't
can be
want
fun,
to.
but this
I
isn't
don't
an
want to
F
keep
movie.
diving into exactly why I liked Uma Thurman in that role, but I paused
I
that
have
movie a
to
lot
take-
as a kid.
I had
But-
to take everything into consideration for it, and I
Yeah.
didn't like Bruce Wayne.
No.
Mr. Freeze was a joke.
Robin
What
was
their-
terrible. in the
Robin was
movie.
Okay.
horrible
So I actually
and whiny.
really,
His
I
storyline
actually
was god
loved-
awful.
I actually really loved how they did Freeze's story, like with his wife.
I like that
and
too,
everything,
but
like,
it was the
shush,
campy
Mike.
one-liners.
No, I liked that they stuck to that storyline, like they kept it in there because
Yeah.
they didn't have to. I liked that they stuck with that, and they didn't abandon it for a different approach. And it took a lot of guts to be able to do that, because if that had been the main thread through the story that they focused on, rather than all the campy nonsense on the outside of it, it's more puns than any other movie per minute.
Honestly,
Exactly.
that does kind of give it an upgrade. Not gonna
In-
lie.
No.
No,
Like,
no.
that kind of gives it an upgrade.
It doesn't matter. We got 2 Fs here.
You got two.
Um,
Fine, I'll give it a C so that it can average.
No,
down to
that's
B.
not how that works. You can't
No.
game the system.
I
By the
can't.
way, real quick.
Why is Batman? Hold on. Is that
Yeah,
real
Jack
quick.
Nicholson?
Josiah, move
Hold on.
Batman out of there. Get
Why
Real
Batman
is
quick.
out of
that
PC.
insane?
Yeah,
That
we're not
should
there
be a
yet.
B.
Real quick,
No,
we have
what
an
are you
announcement.
doing?
This is really important. This is a really big deal.
what?
It's not-
Minority Home, Steph, the wonderful guest that we have today, just hit 10,000 followers on Twitter.
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
10,000
That's awesome.
followers.
Nice.
Much love. She
Boom.
deserves it.
Congratulations.
That's so awesome.
That's
What do you have to
more
say
than
for
my
yourself?
YouTube channel. Go.
Well, don't worry. You'll get there.
Yeah,
Let's go.
All right. So Batman. C.
No.
How dare you? How dare you?
No. Batman's an A.
Why would you put it? Yeah, why would
Batman
you put it in
1989.
C?
There was nothing. You got to remember, dude. At that time, there was nothing like that.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson's portrayal of the Joker is actually really good.
He's number 2.
Really? You?
after Heath Ledger.
I'm not a fan of his Joker.
I know his Joker's actually really good. Like
Ugh.
the
When's last time you
unhinged.
watched it, Josiah?
Yeah.
Oh, like 10 years ago, probably.
That's
Okay,
what
go
I'm
watch it
saying.
again.
He
Go
always
watch
does
it
this shit to me.
again.
He
It
does this to me all the
holds
time.
up.
He'll tell me,
It
he goes,
holds
I watched
up.
this movie as a 6-year-old and I had the flu and I remember that I was getting bit by a dog at the time. He goes, so I
Oh
didn't
my
really have a good
God.
time. And then he'll be like, the movie sucks. And then I'll like, you can't. No. Hey, listen,
It's
Also-
between an A and an S tier for me. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
well,
Keaton's Batman, like it was the first time we'd ever seen anything like that. He had the Batmobile in it. He had, dude, come on.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
I would say a B.
I would give it an S.
Also, I want to point this
Yes?
out too. One of the things that I think is really cool is they don't even show Batman's origin. Like they don't show his parents' death or anything until about like what is it? The climax of the film
Yeah.
is like it all
Yeah.
predicates on you find out like this horrible thing happened to him as a child, which is
Yeah.
why he even
All right,
became
what
Batman. in the
would you
first
give
place.
it, Mike?
I would give it an A or an A. It's between an A and an S, so it's
All
like
right,
an A plus.
We'll give it an A.
There we
I'd
go.
give
We'll
it
give it
an
an
A
A.
too. It's
I'm fair
just,
with that.
it is
All right.
the writing that is actually probably the best written Batman movie. That is
100%,
probably
I
the
agree.
best written Batman movie.
Now, I have a confession to make. I haven't watched Robert Pattinson's Batman yet.
It's freaking
What?
terrible.
So
Holy cow! Really?
really,
What? Wait,
Uh,
Grandmaster said it was terrible.
Yeah,
I don't think it was terrible.
I
was
gave
gonna
it a.
release my review.
I would
and
probably
then,
give
like,
it a D.
I'd give it an F.
You didn't watch it. You
give
can't
it an
review
F.
it if you didn't watch
You
it.
can't review it if you didn't watch it. You have no
Mike,
say on this.
Mike, I got
You're-
a question for you. You know
Yeah.
that
I have
scene-
seen the Joker scene.
Oh my god, that doesn't.
You know
count.
that scene?
Stop.
No, Batman. Do you know why the bat for everything else that happened in the film that I have an issue with, and there are many. Do you know the scene that absolutely destroyed this movie for me was when they proved that they do not understand Batman's character,
Oh, did you disappear
Uh-oh.
again? Batman Cutter Mike.
his character as an individual. Did I
Which
cut
one?
out again?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
yeah, just for a second. Yeah.
Sorry.
What scene?
What was your point? Yeah, what scene?
The scene where he finds the carpet tool in the cage, right? The manner
Yeah.
in which it was hidden was specifically for so only he could find it. The
Yeah.
manner in which it was delivered to him obviously had some significance. And after 2 seconds of pulling it out and holding it in his hand, he was like, I don't know what this is. And he hands it to the police. That is not how Batman works. That is not at all how Batman
Sounds like an F
works.
to me.
Does not
The only
does not
listen,
matter.
okay,
Doesn't
I
matter if
get-
this is year one. He still
I
has
get
all
that.
of that technology.
Okay,
he would
he does,
never-
but the whole idea is that this is I thought, to me, it lent to the idea that he is not the world's greatest detective. He's still learning his shit, and he overlooked something that seemed insignificant, not realizing that everything is significant for what it's supposed to be. I also do think that part of it was trying to lean into the fact that he didn't notice, because he's never had to even like experience working with a tool like that in his life, because he's supposed to be like a rich kid that didn't know. So I wouldn't give it an F over that, but I understand where you're coming from. I would give it a C.
Do you know why that? Do you know why what your argument says doesn't hold up? Because he looks at her boots and is able to make deductive determinations that only a brilliant natural detective would be able to make, regardless of the fact that he was unfamiliar with those boots. He was able to make these deductive reasonings.
They were
I would
the
give it a
exact
C.
same boots, though. Just because he doesn't use and wear the boots, it doesn't mean that like he.
Josiah, you don't get to rank this
recognize
movie.
The
You keep putting it down
No.
in D.
You know
You
what I
don't
mean?
get
Well,
to
that's-
rank
I'm giving it an F.
Boots.
Look,
are
I am
boot-
giving it
boots
I
an
would
F.
give it a
are
D,
boots.
which is honestly perfect because Mike would give it a C, so it's balanced.
Okay, you
So,
have
there
no
we go.
say. You have
So,
never seen this
there we
movie.
go.
You
Okay,
can't
Steph.
base
See,
your
I was
rating
right all along.
on-
This is
on
exactly
your-
where
Rate
it's supposed
it.
to be.
What do you want to rate it, Steph?
I would give it a B, in all honesty. I didn't
Ooh.
think it was
Can
the
I ask
worst
why?
movie ever. I didn't think it was the worst movie ever. And if we are just if we're not going just by Batman, right? We're taking everything into consideration.
Mhm.
I did like Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I liked the look and the
Colin
feel
Farrell
of
was a
Gotham.
good penguin.
Gotham was
Mhm.
incredible. I liked how he's working alone, and I liked Alfred. I liked his relationship with Alfred. They're working together. They have like this brother relationship because Bruce is so young right now. I did like the Riddler at the beginning of it. I don't like his costume or anything. That's neither here nor there. It kind of the Riddler and his minions kind of fall apart for me at the end, but I do like this Riddler a lot better than Jim Carrey's Riddler. It's very
Also-
intriguing.
Also, the Batmobile scene is probably the best Batmobile scene in any movie.
Disagree.
I disagree with that.
See, the
I
chat is
disagree with
saying
that.
F, so D is honestly pretty perfect.
Yeah.
For
I would
He
give
said,
it
I saw some of it and gave it an F. He didn't even watch the whole movie.
Yeah.
And you know that's not what that comment was saying. Listen, I think the
So the
Batmobile
Dark
scene
Knight
in that,
Rises.
That movie
it's an early
I
version
think
of
that
Batman. I
Batmobile
think
scene
it was
is the
fine.
best.
No, but see,
I think that Batmobile scene was
It's a
fire.
proto Batmobile.
That's-
I'll go as low as a C, but I would really give it a B.
I'd
No,
give it a C.
I would definitely give it an F because not
Mhm.
only I would
Mhm.
also have to disagree with you on Gotham, Steph, because what Gotham felt like to me. So
You
when
guys
we
make
watched
me so mad sometimes.
when you watch like Michael Keaton's Batman, when you watch that, Gotham feels like a character of the story. Even in
And this
Batman,
Gotham did as well. This
I
Gotham did as
disagree.
well. This Gotham is
It
run,
felt
it's
like
been
New
run
York
by
City.
the mob. Everything is everything, all of the, what do you call it, all the politicians are corrupt, which leads to a terrible
Chicago.
destruction of the city. So yeah, Gotham
Well,
looks
Gotham's
really
always
good.
been like,
But-
it goes
but
And
between
Gotham has
both.
always been gritty and dirty.
Yes,
so-
but it still had it, but it lacked any sort of character about it.
I
Like,
will
if
say
you-
that I did count a lot of good black people in that movie, so maybe we should just give it an F and call it good. There was a lot of good black people in
Good
that
God,
movie.
Mike. No, Steph, I can see where you're coming from. I disagree with you on several of those points, but
We'll
yeah,
just give
I
it a
would
D.
give it I'd
Yeah,
give
We'll
it
just
a
give it
we'll,
a
B.
So we have the Dark Knight Rises next.
I'm okay with that. Yeah,
Which
This is-
I would say it's an
B.
I would say it's an
B
A.
at
It's a C.
highest. I'd say C or
I'd
It's a
give it a
B.
B.
It's like
I'd give
a
it
B
a
minus
B.
C plus.
Wow.
It's a C.
Yeah, I'd give it a B.
I
We'll
didn't
give it a
like
B.
Bane. Bane was
I
terrible.
loved
went-
Bane in the
yes.
B for
beginning.
Bane.
I love Tom
All right.
Hardy, and I hated Bane.
I loved Bane in the beginning. Bane, when
Yes.
he first shows up, and
Oh,
that
man.
fight, I'm sorry, that fight between Batman and Bane still to this day slaps. That is
Yeah.
a good ass fight. And the whole concept that like Bane is this like the immovable object beats an unstoppable force, like that, and that kind of concept. But it really falls apart when you find out that he was just simping for the lady. He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
I'll give it a
she's
C.
my
oh
lover."
man, yeah, that ruined
Mhm.
it. That really
Yeah.
did ruin it.
The concept that Bane was like an antithesis to Batman, but they were also like the same concept, like this guy that like picked himself up from like nothing and like
Mhm.
drew himself out of this pit of darkness to like become this like symbol of like terror and chaos. But then for him to be like, Batman's like almost the opposite. He started at the top and worked his way down to like learn, and like that kind of parallel great writing, great storytelling, just to then be like, by the way, it's Talia, and he just works for Talia. And you're like, oh, great. And then Catwoman's like, Gagoom! I dealt with the bad guy for Batman. Yay! I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was.
I'll give it
So,
a C. There's a
funny
lot of shit in that movie that just doesn't make sense. Like he got out of the cave, but he got to New York City or to Gotham so
Oh, yeah.
fucking quickly.
Yeah.
He got
Yeah.
inside
He got
of
his
Gotham
broken
so
back
fucking quickly.
fixed with a punch. to the
Yeah, his
spine.
broken back was just fixed really quickly,
He's like,
and he's able to do a lot of
chiropractic.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Batman Begins, S. It's just there's no debate. It's an S.
I'd have to give that an S.
Yeah,
I
Batman-
I'll
do
give it
love
an
that
A.
one.
I'll
What?
Give it I would
Steph?
give it an A. Honestly, like
I'd have to give it an S.
It's
I
incredible.
really do.
Yeah.
It's an A.
It's the
I think-
first time since it was the first time that I legitimately thought that a superhero film from not the 90s or 80s could compete with like TMNT. By the way, I scale all my superhero videos. I compare them, all their films and everything, against TMNT 1990.
That's fair.
Ooh, yeah.
That's what I base my.
But I do
rating
agree.
off of.
Batman. I think Batman Begins gets an S tier.
Yeah.
I think the way they handled Ra's al Ghul was
Yes.
awesome. I think Liam Neeson did a great job. I thought the costume was really dope when you first see it. Also, the scene where he drops down, like he's in the police department, and he calls the bats to him and like drops. like,
Oh yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
that is a
Yes.
great shot. Also,
Yeah.
to
it was
me, one of the most
was-
accurate versions of Scarecrow I've seen
Yes.
on screen so
Scarecrow
far.
was good.
And also that
Scarecrow
scene where
was
he
good.
calls the bats, not only was it striking and stunning, it made sense. It wasn't in there just for the heck of it. It made sense for it to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
I know his name is Ra's al Ghul, but they call him Ra's al Ghul in that movie, so I'm going by the pronunciation.
Joss Whedon's Justice League.
F.
That's an
F.
F.
It's an F.
I
The show
actually-
the movie fucking sucks.
I
Yeah.
never thought I would like Flash better than Batman, and when I saw this version of Justice League, I liked Ezra Miller's Flash better than
Yeah.
Batman. That's a
Ezra Miller,
problem.
Ezra chair to the face Miller over
Uh-huh.
Flat, yeah.
I
It was
didn't
bad.
like any of
All
them.
right.
Batman was blue.
So-
Yeah.
So this is kind of bothering me that we don't have one in C yet. So I
Don't
think
you
Batman
don't- no.
Returns should
Oh
be
my
in C.
God.
What?
That's at least a B.
That's a B movie.
That's a B
That's-
movie.
that's my
I
argument.
mean, hold on.
That-
If
you
for
can't
no
just
other
fill.
reason-
No, that's not how that.
Josiah, you're ruining this. You're ruining it.
destruction.
He just makes
no
these
integrity in
decisions.
this ranking system anymore. None
Well,
whatsoever.
the Harry Potter system was even worse. So
Yeah,
God.
I've made a lot
I've
of
watched
Harry
that.
Potter fans mad with that
Um,
one.
yeah.
I
would-
honestly, we should have just been rating Batman. Okay,
Should've, but
not
we're
not the
and
whole
we've
movie.
come too far. We've come too far. But
We can't
the
go back.
sole
Yeah.
reason that this needs to be a B, if for no other reason, is Michelle Pfeiffer as
Yeah, she did a good job.
Catwoman.
If we're
Drag-
taking Michelle
she-
Pfeiffer as Catwoman, then it should be in the A tier
Yeah,
because
that's
she
true.
is the definitive Catwoman.
like-
Josiah, have you ever seen this movie? Have you even seen this one?
Batman Return. Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
Also,
How
Michael
long ago?
Duff's
What's a long
Alfred
time
is
ago?
still my favorite
It
Alfred.
was like around the time that The Dark Knight came out.
Oh my God, that's like 13 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Josiah,
Oh,
do you
God.
do you
Um,
do you watch movies?
He
I
does.
do. I do.
He actually watches more
that-
movies than even
put
I
that
do.
I
up
watch
in
a
the
lot of
B.
movies.
But I
Josiah?
rewatch movies more than Josiah rewatches movies.
I like how he just stuck it in C tier and hasn't fucking moved it.
No,
I
put it
know.
in B.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
B.
it looks nice sitting.
No,
in
no,
C.
no,
I
I don't care about how it looks.
I think
Put it
it's
in-
an
put it in
A
B.
tier.
Everybody
It's
has
an
A tier?
for me.
You can
It's
put
an
Bat-
A tier movie for me. I loved it. It was a
I'd
great
give it a B.
sequel to Batman. It was a great sequel to Batman.
I will give it a B because I don't think it was as good as Batman, but I also really enjoyed the movie. I
Let's
just
see. I guess
I
it
think
looks
so.
better in B, so we'll keep it in B there.
you're
looks-
you're the worst.
God.
Dark Knight Rises is S tier. Let's move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, A.
Don't you dare, Lady Craig.
Batman v Superman.
I would
Don't-
put that in the C.
Are
Solely
we
because-
just fucking done with the previous one?
Yeah,
Right?
Josiah
you
just
can
moved
throw
on.
it into S
Um,
and it's not. It's an A movie. That is an A.
It's an
The
A.
Dark
No,
Knight.
it's
The
an
Dark
A
Knight
movie. I think that
absolutely
both of
an
those
S
ones that are
tier.
in S
The
tier.
Dark
not
Knight
S tier.
is.
If we're gonna put the Dark Knight in S tier, which I believe fine,
What?
it's between an S and an A, we need to move Batman Begins down to an A tier. I'm sorry,
What?
but I think that both of those movies, in my opinion, are A tier movies. They're not S tier movies.
No, are you
Even
kidding
with
me?
Heath Ledger's performance, yes,
The
absolutely.
Dark Knight,
That's
right?
insane.
The Dark
That's
Knight is
just
literally one of
insane.
the greatest comic book movies ever made. It's not even a question.
I don't know.
What?
That's crazy. I think
Like,
she's
it's
just mad about the
crazy.
Batman.
It's not even
Returns.
just like, listen, if you
Bat
put a character that like another actor that does the Joker that isn't Heath Ledger, okay, even with that, the storyline is really is fascinating. The ending is actually really freaking good, and like the stakes for that movie and the pacing of that movie like just ramps up, which was designed. It's even designed. Listen, Christopher Nolan even put in the sound design. Like when you hear like the Batmobile moving, like speeding up, whatever, and even the Joker's theme, there was this theme in throughout the movie, woven throughout it, of acceleration with no end. Like it was like the whole idea was things are just going to keep getting worse for Batman until he
Mike?
does something.
Hey,
Oh
Mike,
my god, I can't
Mike,
fucking.
hold on.
I
Mike, are
will
ready?
give you
Mike,
Batman
Mike,
Begins,
Mike.
but I
The
think Dark
ending,
Knight needs
the
to go in
ending
A.
of the ending of the Dark Knight is one of the greatest endings of a
Mm.
superhero movie ever.
Ever,
Mike,
phenomenal.
ever.
So,
Mike,
Go ahead,
these
Lady
two
Grey.
movies are
Something?
S tier. Batman
You have-
Begins and The Dark Knight. They're both
Yes.
S tier movies.
Hold on,
That's
yeah.
what you're saying.
Let's. Lady Gravemaster's gonna make me upset. Let's go ahead.
maybe upset with Joy. You have convinced me to bump Dark Knight from A to S.
Nice.
Based solely on
Okay,
your,
That makes me
all
feel-
right.
based solely on your argument.
Since we still have some conflict over
Real
Batman
quick.
Returns,
Real
Mike,
quick,
No.
what would you
There's
give
no
Batman
conflict.
Returns?
It's just you.
Real
You
quick.
are-
Hold on, real quick. I just want to say this though, just because credit where credit is due. But we all know, like, the reason that the Dark Knight is acclaimed. Heath Ledger
Yes.
is probably
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the greatest acting performances ever in history. Like, not
Yes.
even just in comic book films. It's probably one of the greatest acting portrayals I've ever seen. It's one of the best transformations of an actor that I've ever seen.
Then
'Cause
put
it's not
Batman
Heath Ledger.
Begins in an A tier. Put
Mhm.
Batman Begins in an A tier. If it's
No.
better
Okay.
than Batman
No.
Begins, put Batman Begins
But the
in A
movie
tier.
isn't as good without Batman Begins.
Yeah.
It's not as good because
setup for
they
Dark
set
Knight
up because he even says it.
in-
They carry over the themes from from Batman Begins when he says, "Hey, we get bulletproof vests, they get armor piercing rounds. You're
Mhm.
wearing a mask. What do you think is going to happen next?" And then he gives them the card and says, "This guy is an example of what's going to happen." And then the Joker in the next movie tells him, "I started doing this because of you. If it
Mhm.
wasn't for you putting on that mask and running around like a bat every night, I wouldn't be acting like this, but you changed everything for me." That's why I think they both
Yeah.
go hand in hand.
Yes.
I
I'm
agree.
sorry. I'm
Boom.
sorry, Steph.
No,
Steph hates
it's
me
just
now.
like with the Lord of the
Steph
Rings
hates me
trilogy,
now.
they're all S tier. You can say which
I
one
would
agree
is
with
the
that.
like you can't
Yeah.
say this one's better than that. You can say which one you like the best out of the three, but they're all S tier. Batman Begins and Dark Knight, I would have to agree with Mike. You can't separate those two out because they are so linked. Where Dark Knight Rises is kind of, it was very unfocused.
Yeah,
in a
well,
lot of
because Dark Knight
places.
Rises originally, and I know Jeremy will argue this until the cows come home. The Dark Knight Rises original story was supposed to be a continuation of the Joker story, and it was literally supposed to be the Joker tearing the city apart because he called out all the hypocrisy within the law and all the ideas like within the like all the corruption within Gotham, and that Batman literally violated human rights. It was going to be this whole thing of like Batman being deconstructed and all the terrible things he did in the second movie to get to the point he did in the that story would have been an S tier as well. I think it would have been the greatest trilogy of all time. But Heath Ledger dying changed everything for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Unfortunately, yes.
Go ahead.
I am gonna have to drop. I will say that this final Batman movie or this final movie that we have to rank would be a C for me, Batman v Superman. And the only reason I say that is I didn't watch it for the longest time because I did not. They've destroyed like the approach to this destroyed Superman's character. This is a very red Superman, a very nihilistic Superman. I didn't care for the direction, but Affleck and Cavill's chemistry saved the movie for me. They were very good together, like what they were able to do. So this has a C for me. Guys, I do have a previous engagement that I had promised I would be for. I would be there for. So I'm gonna have to drop it. My rating for that Batman v Superman would be C. I thank you guys so much for inviting me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, Lady G. Appreciate it.
Lady G, you're the best. We appreciate you.
You guys are amazing.
Go vanquish more foes and be awesome.
Much love all, and I will talk to you
Yes.
all later.
All right.
Mwah. Bye.
Talk to you
Yeah.
later.
All right.
Let's
we
finish
go.
this bad
Here
boy.
we fucking
All
go.
right. So, Batman
Steph.
v Superman.
This is the most controversial movie among
Yes.
Batman fans.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Bet. I want to hear Steph's thought on this. I know I'm going to get shit on this movie. So
I love this one. I like it. I like this movie. I like this movie. I like this movie, especially like if you watch the extended edition. Extended edition. I love this movie. This movie is good to me. This movie is at least a B, at the very least a B for me.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh, come on.
Steph, I love you so much. Yeah, I agree. It's a B. Listen,
A B?
I really enjoy it. And I don't care. I'm taking the extended edition. That's the definitive edition of it.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
You're going to put Batman v Superman next to Batman Returns?
Yeah. 100%.
I want Batman Returns higher. I wanted Batman Returns higher.
Yeah.
I wanted it at an A.
I think it's a B movie. I liked it a lot. I really enjoy it. It's one of the few movies I literally of movies that I watch a lot. I go back and rewatch Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman every year. I will sit down and rewatch those movies every single year, and I'm always happy to do so. I've never had any complaints. Wow. I enjoy those movies probably more the more I watch them. I thought the idea of making Superman the plot device in the film and making Clark the character was really genius for his character. I love the idea of Batman hating him. It's not a perfect movie. I think that what's it called? Pulling the trigger on what's his name? Well, I can't remember his name now. Doomsday was a mistake, but I didn't hate it, so I'd have to give it a B.
Yeah, there's a lot of that ruined. I think the film could have been really, really good if they had actually kept it as a Batman v Superman movie, but they completely blew all of that out of the water for me with a lot of their premature setup for Justice League and all of the other nonsense that they put into the film that I didn't think needed to be there. So
it's fair.
I would probably give it like a D.
God damn you, you're the worst. No, hold on. Stop.
Yeah.
I know what Josiah's doing.
He wants to put it in a C.
He wants to put it in C tier because he doesn't like the C tier is empty.
That's all you want to do. You don't like the C tier is empty. You want to put it in the C.
So what he's trying to do is he's trying to offset our B with a C so that he can move it there and fill it.
No. See, listen. I think in honor of Lady Gravemaster, because she wanted it in a C, I think we should put it in a C.
You're the worst. You just want to put it there.
You just want to put it in the C.
Here's
my ranking.
Boom.
Move that shit up, okay?
Perfect.
I think that, The Dark Knight, S tier. I would put Batman Begins in A tier. Zack Snyder's Justice League can stay in A tier. Batman and Batman Returns would be in A tier. Let me see. Those are fine. I move up Batman versus Superman into B tier. I would move up Val Kilmer's Batman into C tier. Leave the other two are fine, and then leave the F tier where it's at.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be my definitive ranking of all of these movies.
Yeah. So I think this is a great official ranking. Tier
I hate
list
that you
ranking
put it in C tier. God damn it, Josiah. You're the fucking worst. You're the worst. Move up Batman versus Superman. Put Val Kilmer's in C tier.
This is exactly where it needs to be because of Lady Gravemaster. So
I like how somebody said 50 out of 50 sounds pretty much right. Yeah, this is pretty accurate for the most part, but not really.
So that's pretty great. Thank you everyone for participating and making sure that this is the definitive list. It's
God,
perfect.
Josiah pisses me off.
And
yeah. I hate you so much because you know exactly what you're doing. He knows how triggered this gets me. That's why he said the thing about Watchmen earlier, because he knew it was going to make me mad. He knew it. He was like, if I say this, it's going to make Mike so angry. Dude. Yeah.
So, Mike, what else makes you angry? Does Rings of Power make you angry?
Rings of Power, it didn't make me angry. I was very bored. Here's the thing.
Were you apathetic?
Yeah, the worst feeling you can get from something that's a piece of art is apathy. I think being driven to anger by something means that it meant something to you. I really love Lord of the Rings. I think the books are phenomenal. I read them in high school and I love them. I've actually read them 3 times through. But like I finished reading them in high school and reread them immediately because I liked them so much. I love the movies. I thought the movies were incredible. The Hobbit. I actually liked the first Hobbit until the sequel, and the sequel was awful, and the third one was even worse. So all of that stuff being said, when I watched this, I just didn't feel anything. It just felt like whatever. I'm like, it's nothing. It's a nothing burger. Nothing's really happening. And the idea is, if you were gonna say, hey, I talked to my wife about this the other night. The thing is, if you say, hey, we want to tell a story and we want to tell it within Tolkien's universe and kind of bridge the gap between some of these events that are talked about or hinted at, and we just want to tell this story, awesome. Because here's the thing in Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, the film, Peter Jackson films, don't need to surprise anybody. If you read the books, you know what the end is. If you haven't read the books, you don't know what's going to happen, and you'll be surprised by it. The thing with these books, they took the appendices and they said, hey, we're going to tell a story, and we're not going to tell anybody what we're doing, and there's going to be all this mystery and intrigue and setup, like Game of Thrones. But the reason Game of Thrones had intrigue and setup is because most people hadn't read the books. The people that read the books knew that the Red Wedding was coming. The people that read the books knew what things were going to happen in the beginning. They knew Ned Stark was going to lose his life. All of that stuff. So the thing is, you're trying to make a mystery for hardcore fans that don't think it's a mystery. They already know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of telling an interesting story with characters that we already knew and like build on the themes that have already been established by previous movies and previous stories, you decided to go in a different direction, and you didn't need to. Nobody wants to be surprised by Lord of the Rings. They want to see characters that they love adapted to screen in a fun way, in a good way. We already read all these books. That's why we went and saw the movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with Harry Potter fans that were fans of the movies. They went and saw the books. They didn't need to be surprised.
Yeah, right.
It's like changing the story and killing Harry in the first movie, and everybody will be like, "That's not what happened," so we're not interested now.
Yes.
So
yes,
stop trying
exactly.
stop trying to adapt a surprise and just adapt the stories. It's what Rip has been saying for a long time. If you adapted the Infinity War saga shot for shot like it is in the comics, the people that didn't read the comics are going to be surprised either way, and people that read the comics get to see what they love come to life.
I mean, that's the argument that I've always made, is that there's a reason why these stories are so good and why they're so popular and why they continue to be, like Lord of the Rings, translated into 60 plus languages. It's because it's good for what it is. It's the story that it is, and that's why people love it. You don't need to continue to try to put your own ideas that you think are better than the author's ideas into the story to try to make it better than what it is, because you can't do that. You just can't.
100%,
especially with an author like J.R.R. Tolkien, one of the greatest authors.
Remember what they said. They want to tell the story that Tolkien never wrote.
Yes, that right there is the problem. It's all intentional. What they are doing is intentional. With Lord of the Rings, with Star Wars, with all these different franchises, what they are doing is on purpose. They are absolutely trying to completely disrupt and destroy what the story actually is, so that they can then allow their own viewpoints, worldviews, agendas, whatever, to creep into it. So
and it's so
100%.
odd. It's so odd that they're pushing this off, that they're advertising this as the first for everything. We're going to see the first female dwarf on screen. We're going to see. We learned that women exist in this world. We learned that women have agency for the very first time in this world. It's ridiculous. It is all ridiculous in order for them to push their agenda. And it doesn't need that. It never needed that. It already had a lot of that. Yeah. So it's kind of like, what are you talking about?
Eowyn is one of my favorite characters in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Her story is phenomenal.
I will say this. This is like maybe a hot take. I don't actually like Eowyn in the movies nearly as much as Eowyn in the books. I think Eowyn in the books is a better character. I actually think they made her way too soft and way too weepy in the movies, and I think she's far more interesting character in the books.
I think they did a pretty good. I think that they went a little bit too hard into trying to make a romance thing out of her and Aragorn.
Yes.
In the movies,
because she's always like, "Oh, Aragorn." I'm like, I don't care about that. Like, yeah. Also, I'm gonna share this real quick too. Just this, this line here, because I've talked about this on Twitter before. But dude, the line that Eowyn says to the Witch King when she runs into him, dude, in the book or whatever, Let me see if I can find it real quick because it's actually my favorite line in anything. Like here.
Yep. This is while you're looking for that, I wanted to kind of make a point out of this because there's a lot of people out there right now, a lot of fans who are basically saying things like, "Oh, well, you guys are, you never complained about all the changes that Peter Jackson made in his Lord of the Rings trilogy." And the problem is that they are not addressing what the root problem is between what Peter Jackson did with his changes for the Lord of the Rings trilogy and what the producers behind Rings of Power are doing with their changes. This is what Peter Jackson said when he made Lord of the Rings. We made a promise to ourselves at the beginning of the process that we weren't going to put any of our own politics, our own messages, or our own themes into these movies. What we were trying to do was to analyze what was important to Tolkien and to try to honor that. In a way, we were trying to make these films for him, not for ourselves, which is a direct antithesis. An antithesis to what they're doing with Rings of Power.
100%. And so, I wanted to read this real quick because somebody said like, "Oh, I am no man." Oh, no, my friends. Because this is a thing. I actually am it's one of the biggest criticisms of the movie I have because I think the line that Eowyn drops in the book is so much more badass. So I'm just going to read this quick excerpt and I love it so much. A cold voice answered, "Come not between the Nazgul and his prey, or he will slay thee in thy turn. He will bear thee away to the houses of lamentation, beyond all darkness, where thy flesh shall be devoured, and thy shriveled mind be left naked to the lidless eye." Which is a badass line from the Witch King. A sword rang as it was drawn. "Do what you will, but I will hinder it if I may. Hinder me, thou fool, no living man may hinder me." And this is still, it gives me chills every time I read this line. "Then Mary heard all sounds in that hour the strangest. It seems that Durnhelm laughed, and the clear voice was like the ring of steel. But no living man am I. You look upon a woman. Eowyn I am, Eowyn's daughter. You stand between me and my lordkin. Be gone if you be not deathless. For living or dark undead, I will smite you if you touch him." That is like the most badass line I have ever read in a story because like that is straight up. She's looking at the Witch King in his face going, "Bitch, I don't give a fuck what's happening. It's not about me being a woman. It's not about me not being a man. It's the fact that I don't give a crap what prophecy you've heard. If you touch him, you die." And that's exactly what he did. And like, I don't know, that to me is way more badass than "I'm no man." Whatever. It is what it is. I don't hate it in the movies, but it's not what it could have been because that section is like one of the coolest sections, one of the coolest payoffs in the story. I love that thing so much. So anyways, that's
absolutely. But that's the thing is that Rings of Power, they think that they can do better than Tolkien somehow by making Galadriel an insufferable bitch. Like that is literally what like they have directly completely transformed who Galadriel is from the Silmarillion, from whatever type of story you want to say that they're interpreting the stuff from, adapting it from. They completely transformed and flipped Galadriel and Elrond in the books. Completely. Like Elrond is not who he is in Rings of Power in the books. Galadriel is not who she is in Rings of Power compared to what she is in the books. And Galadriel, I can't stand what they've done with Galadriel.
No.
That is honestly my biggest complaint about this entire show. Galadriel, I can't watch her. She's just like completely horrible.
Well, and the thing is, if Elrond was that insufferable, we wouldn't like him either.
Yes, exactly.
He's just not a good. Well, if he did the whole thing with the ice troll,
well, Elrond is insufferable for another reason.
Yeah, but like if he jumped up and was like swinging and killing the ice troll like he did, it would still be just as bad.
Yes.
Be like, what the
absolutely.
Yeah, nobody needed that. Yeah. Like the whole introduction like of the troll still in Fellowship of the Ring is one of the most badass things ever because when they're like, "Oh, this is a bad situation," and then they bring out the troll and they're like, "Oh God, it got worse." Like even Gandalf, the guy that fights a Balrog, like just a little bit later, is even like, "Oh damn it, the cave troll! Like this is bad."
And
all of them take hits. Every single member of the Fellowship takes hits. Every single one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's able to take it out in like mere seconds.
Yes,
So
exactly.
bad.
And that just goes to show just how horrible the writing is in the show, because there is no payoff with anything that's happening with even just like you have to have payoffs. And even in small situations like her fighting the troll, there has to be some sort of payoff. There is no payoff there. The only payoff that they give you is a weird shallow version of, oh, she's so badass that she's literally just a Mary Sue and nothing can hurt her. And the payoff with in Fellowship of the Ring when they're fighting the cave troll is that you get to see the Fellowship bond over trying to take out this monster, and it
Mhm.
shows them becoming the Fellowship and becoming the team that needs to work together to take on giant beasts and monsters like the cave troll. That is the payoff that you get from that. There is literally nothing that you get from Galadriel taking out that troll. It is just it's a feminist moment. That's all it is. So
That's all it
Oh,
is.
absolutely. And then she loses her crew. Like, oh.
Yeah, they immediately are like, yeah,
I mean, shit.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can do this without us. We almost died, so we're peace out. You know, it's so ridiculous, and she's just like making this face, like I'm all alone now.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And not only that, but like after they take out the cave troll, Gandalf dies. Like there's consequences there too.
Yeah.
And they feel that pain for their lost. They just came together as a team, and they lose someone.
Yeah, somebody really
Mhm.
important. Yeah,
Yep.
100%, man. Hey, I don't know what you got next. Go ahead for your next thing, but I do have a little surprise thing for Steph. Before we finally call it, because we like to always give our people a fun thing, and that Batman thing could have been fun, but a certain somebody.
I thought it was fun. I had a good
I don't know if
time.
I trust
Oh, I
him.
know you did. I know you did. No, I do have this thing, but I want to make sure we're done talking about stuff. But so just before, I didn't want Josiah to be like, "Oh, we're ending it," without giving stuff this.
Right.
little-
Okay. Yeah.
fun little
I
thing,
mean,
so.
yeah. I just like Rings of Power is such a disaster, and there's so many things that are happening in the show that I'm like, what is like everything that's having to do with the hobbits? I don't care, or Harfoots, whatever you want to call them. I don't care about anything that's happening with them. Like it's completely like honestly, the whole show is kind of boring as shit. To be honest, like holy crap, what a
There's way too much going on. They're like going from place to place. Here in the first movie, right, in Fellowship, we're following our characters to meet all of these people, right?
right.
But here they're just setting up like different places, and
Mhm.
it's going back and forth.
Yep.
And it's just not interesting.
No,
It's not interesting when they
it's-
do that. You know what? I have a problem with the way if you watch Elrond, watch him walk down the stairs. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but the way the way the guy walks downstairs, really.
Well, all the
shit
male
out of
elves
me.
just look like so weird.
Yeah.
Like it's just weird. They
He
have
walks down
such
the stairs like he's like a fucking ballerina, like about to go and perform.
I can't stand the way that they made the elves look in this show. They look horrendous.
I also think it's funny that like a lot of the men are wearing like these long robes and stuff, and like Galadriel never is. She's wearing like pants.
Yeah.
Unless she's wearing a dress and swimming across the fucking ocean.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, she jumps into the water. And you're like, what?
And you're like, where are you swimming to? Across the ocean.
You know, hundreds and hundreds of miles away from any land whatsoever.
But she'd be like,
but she's just fine. So amazing that even the ocean can't stop her. It's pretty 100%. Incredible.
Oh, 100%.
What's up with the non-gender conforming armor? That armor looks terrible.
It does.
Yeah, it looks bad.
It does.
Yep. Well, that's the thing. They just they want to try to make everything look like it's fair and equal, and you know, like you wouldn't give somebody like Galadriel with her like the gravitas around her name and everything, like you wouldn't want to give her own armor if you were going to do something like that. No, none of that. Everything's uniform and the same, and nobody's better than anybody else, and it's ridiculous.
One of the worst things that happened in I think it was the second episode was Elrond went to go meet Celebrimbor, which they completely fucked up Celebrimbor like 100%.
Yeah.
But and you know, they're looking at the hammer and everything else, and they're saying stupid lines that the writers think are super deep, but they're not. They're just really terrible and cringe. And then they're like, oh, well, we should probably go visit the dwarves and see if we can get them to help us build this tower. And then, like, in the next scene, you just see them like round the corner of this cliff, and then they're there with the dwarves.
Yes.
And they're in the same clothes.
Yes.
There's nothing. They don't look unkempt. They
No.
look exactly like they just.
Well,
stepped
yeah,
off the
but
other
Josiah-
Yeah,
side.
they just got there. They just
Yeah.
like
Josiah, they
went.
showed the map. Okay.
Oh yeah,
They did
put
the map
in there,
cutaway,
yeah,
so
that's right. That's right.
That's
that
right. They
ignores-
did show the map. It's like
It
the same
literally-
day, same clothes.
It
Boom,
literally looks
time
like
travel.
they had like one set right next to each other, and they're like, "All right, walk from this set into this set, and then we'll shoot this scene right here."
Yeah.
There's nothing different at all. It's
Yep.
just like that. That shows just how shallow this show is.
Yeah.
That
They have
like
horrible
they didn't.
transitions.
Oh, the transitions are terrible. Like they use that map as like the transition all the
Yeah.
time.
so
It's so
freaking
bad.
much. Yeah.
Oh my
I want someone to like
embarrassing.
take that map and make it spin really fast and go. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Oh
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
That's
Yep,
basically
exactly.
how it feels. Okay.
Uh-huh.
figure it out.
And yeah, you're like, wow, they did it again.
Yeah.
Cool. The world's so big. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
So yeah, all of the characters that are actually from the books, they have done a terrible job with. They aren't like anything like they're in the actual books. Elrond, Celebrimbor, Galadriel, Gil-galad, and then you have all these. Most of the show is made up of all these new characters that they have created that I don't give a fuck about at all. Like I like they show like the men of the South or whatever. I don't give a shit about any of those characters. The herbalist lady, I don't give a crap about her son. Dark elf boy, whatever his name, Arendir, I think his name is. I will say this: the thing that is the best thing about this show so far are the dwarves. I think that the dwarves are acceptable. Like when I look at the dwarves, I can be like, okay, that looks somewhat like Tolkien to me. But they're still not great.
Yeah.
That
No,
whole
it's not
story-
good.
That whole scene, you people.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
you people scene.
I was like, what?
Good lord, this is so on the nose. Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's so terrible. Hey,
Oh my
nice
gosh.
ears.
Yeah, knife ears. I'm like, wow.
Knife
They're like, you know what a black elf face is? Racism.
God,
Yeah.
it's like
Oh.
your people will always be that way. Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
bad.
Oh, it's so.
It's all
oh my
bad.
gosh, it's terrible.
All right. Well,
Fuck
Steph.
Rings of Power. There we go.
Rings of Power is
That's
awful.
that's my final thing that I'll say.
It's
for Rings of
bad.
Power.
It's not
Yep.
good. Steph, I know you have not just a love of Batman, but you also have another love. You love turtles.
I love
Right?
turtles. Yes.
Favorite. So I have a list here of turtles, fictional turtles, and I want you to tell us: do you know who they are, and do you love them or do you hate them? Okay.
I hope I get them all right. All right.
You better
I
get
hope
them
I
all
know
right.
them.
All right, I'm sharing my thing here. All right, do you know who this is?
I don't, but he looks like
Oh my
he kind of
gosh,
looks like
Steph.
Spike.
This is Speed. He's the turtle from the movie The Swan Princess, and he's like the fastest turtle in the world.
Aww.
The whole thing with him is that he is super slow on land, but when he gets in water, he's like the fastest turtle. And everybody thought it was a joke that they called him Speed, but
I haven't seen that movie. I used to watch the movie all the time. When
Dude,
I
I love The Swan Princess. I think
Yeah.
you would love him. Steph, if you haven't watched The Swan Princess, do yourself a favor.
Okay.
Pull-
I
pull
haven't
it
watched
up.
The Swan Princess. Okay. I
You
will.
should watch it. It's really, really, really good. All right,
Yep.
next up. So just on what you see from here, love him, hate him.
He looks adorable. I love him.
Okay, there we go. Boom. Next turtle. You know who this is?
Oh yeah. I know that is. I love him too.
What's his name, Steph? I want to see if you actually know his
I
name.
love his name too.
Starts with an F. Franklin.
Franklin.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
She was like, I love him. Yeah, you guy.
Franklin.
Franklin.
Yes,
So
I
you
know
love
him. I love
Franklin the turtle. All right. Yeah. I grew up
Okay.
with him. He's kind of
Yeah.
a schmuck, but it's okay. We'll make it work. Yeah. The chat knew
Franklin's
who he was
alright.
right away.
Yeah.
And Franklin's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who this
Oh
is?
my god, that's my favorite turtle ever.
Do you remember what his
That's
name
my
is?
favorite turtle ever. Yes, it's holy
You got
shit.
this stuff.
God. I'm sorry.
I put her on the
hold-
spot. I put her on the
I'm
spot.
fucking
She doesn't
terrible
remember
with
any of the
names.
She's like, I love
I don't
these
like,
turtles
I don't
so
like
much,
being
and
put
I.
on the spot. That's a professor.
Professor.
Oogway.
Yeah. Yeah. Oogway.
Yeah.
Nice
There
job,
you go.
Steph. Love. You
Oogway.
love Oogway?
Yes.
right, yeah, we have much love
I
for
love the
Oogway,
way
the
he's,
master
like,
of kung
He
fu.
moves his hand.
I'm not a big fan, but he's all right.
What do you have against Oogway?
He's just kind of boring.
He's the one that unlocked the mysteries of martial arts.
Yeah.
Oogway.
I mean, and props to him for that, but apparently,
Oogway.
fat pandas can also unlock mysteries, so it doesn't
He's
really.
so
Well, that
mean
was
a
the
whole lot.
point. It was like that he was. Oh my gosh,
Doesn't mean
Josiah.
anything.
He's so
You make me
cute,
so mad
Oogway.
sometimes. You just hate on Oogway.
Master Oogway. That's Squirtle. Yes, I love Squirtle.
You love Squirtle. I mean, I kind of feel weird because I'm like, is he really like a turtle or
I
is he
love
like
Squirtle.
he's a Pokemon?
He's a Pokemon.
What
I
do you
have a
think
bunch of
about him? What do you
Squirtles.
think? How do you feel about Squirtle? Josiah?
Yeah, I like Squirtle.
Squirtle's
You
all
like
right.
Squirtle?
Yeah. Yep.
You're so negative, dude.
Squirtles, squirting, all that stuff is great. So it's all good
You
stuff.
know, yeah, to make it. Do you know who this is, Steph?
Isn't he in Labyrinth?
No, but close.
Oh yeah.
This
Uh,
is from Neverending Story.
Never Ending Story. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Never Ending
Yeah.
Story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like the asshole turtle that literally just is like sleeping in mud.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, can you help me?" And he's like, "I don't know, I don't really care." And they're like, "Well, everything's about to get destroyed. Can you help me?" And he's like, "Whatever, dude. It is what it is."
I remember
I've
even
never
as a kid,
seen
I
him.
hated this.
You never
turtle.
seen? Have you never seen Neverending Story?
No, I think I've seen like bits and
You're
pieces
lucky.
of it, but I've never watched
You're
it all the way
lucky.
through.
I just made my kids watch it. It was terrible. I made them very sad. Just based on looks, Steph, love or hate?
Well, I mean, I love it. I love the look of turtles. So I mean, yeah, I
He's
love
got a
the look of
punchable
turtles.
face.
He sneezes a lot too, so that's like
Oh,
snot and boogers
doesn't
in
he
his
like
nose.
blow snot all over?
Yeah, he
Atreyu
sneezes
or
like
whatever
4
his name was?
times in the
That's
story.
funny.
Yeah,
Actually,
Yeah.
I don't really like. I like the look of his head, but everything else I don't really like.
Yeah,
gotcha. So we hate
Yeah.
him. Gotcha. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. Nobody
he
likes
is a piece
that
of
guy.
shit.
Here we go.
This is the best
Oh,
turtle.
dude.
Crush.
This is the best turtle.
Crush and Squirt.
Dude, Crush and
Love,
Squirt,
hate?
yeah. Oh, I love them both. Dude.
They're
Crush
pretty good.
is a freaking legend. I mean, they're both legends, but Crush
Yeah.
is like he is my favorite character in Finding Nemo. I
Yeah.
love.
Have
his
you ever seen? I don't know if you've seen it in Disney. They have like an interactive like Finding Nemo like show, and he shows up on set and like on screen, and he can like talk to the people and answer questions. And one of the guys that he's like, "Oh man, what did you have for dinner?" And the guy goes, "Turtle soup." And he's like, "Whoa, dude!" And then he like moves onto the other side of the screen, and he doesn't like want to talk to the guy because the guy told him he ate turtle soup. And yeah, it was actually pretty great. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's pretty good. All right,
Yes, I absolutely love the Ninja Turtles.
I'm just waiting for
My favorite one is Raphael.
Yeah, that's dope.
Mhm.
That I feel that. Yeah, my favorite is actually Michelangelo, but that's just because, my name is Mike and his name is Mike, and it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, you just saw. How do you feel about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, I love it. Raph is my favorite as well. So
That's fair.
Yeah, I relate quite a bit with him. So
Yeah. Leonardo is also like, I always loved Leonardo because he had the swords, but like he was always so like, guys, come on, let's be serious about everything. You're like, oh jeez.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great. They're great.
Yeah.
Childhood classics.
Oh yeah.
And our last turtle.
Bowser.
What do you think about this turtle?
Bowser.
Love, hate? He's a kid. He kidnaps women.
I honestly, if I'm being honest, I don't really like him just because like he was always like one of the main bosses that I could never get past in like
Yeah.
So I
He
have a
throws
lot
shit
of
at you in
hatred
Mario
towards
Kart.
Yeah, I have a lot of hatred towards this turtle.
I understand. Well, that's what I wanted to do for you, Steph. 'Cause I know we like turtles. I wanted to hear what your thoughts are.
Nice.
Definitive
That was
turtle ranking from Steph. Most of them she loves, but
Yeah.
Bowser's an asshole, and so is that fucking turtle from
good. Never ending
Neverending
story.
Story. Piece of shit. I like how she's like, I don't really know, but I don't really like his shell. He's kind of gross.
I like his
Yeah.
shell.
Yeah.
Yeah, piece of shit.
That's fair. That's
He
very
did a
fair.
good job on his face, but not the rest of the shell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he
that's
like
fair.
sneezes like
A lot.
slime everywhere.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
nasty.
gross, dude. He's super nasty, bro.
Yeah. So with that being said, I think that's a great place to end it right there for
Yes.
the show for this week. I appreciate everyone coming out. We do actually have some super chats, so let me get to these. I do have them all starred here. Epstein's Ghost. I love thicky black and Asian chicks, but I wouldn't mind seeing epic twerk for meme purposes. I'll donate $1,000 to make it happen, Josiah. Mike, you better get up right now and start twerking.
Twerk it out.
Yeah, you can't see my camera. I'm not bringing my camera any lower than that. All right,
Do it.
Twerk it out.
Epstein?
Let's go.
Epstein, if you actually do that, then
Yeah.
I will literally drive to Mike's house and take a video of it.
Yeah,
And we'll show
I
it on
promise.
stream next week.
Yeah, if you, he might not even be here anymore. If he dropped 1,000, I straight up, you come over here. We'll film the video. I'll put it all over Twitter. We'll share it next week on the stream. Everything.
Yep.
I'll turn it into a GIF that everyone could just share.
Yeah, I'll give you exactly what you want. So.
Yep, absolutely.
There you go.
Double Brewski, thank you for the $2 super chat. Shallow people can't write deep characters.
That's true.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Very true. You write from experience. So,
Harry, thank you for the $5. For Harry Chillhanger, thank you for the $5 super chat. Wokeness is the death of reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why get woke, go broke is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Epstein's Ghost, once again, thank you for the $10 super chat. I work as a rigger for Marvel Studios, and these feminists that want equality and love, these woke shows and movies wouldn't last a day working under the hot sun while on location.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
100%.
Yeah, that's cool that you work for Marvel. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, get in where you fit in, man. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Joe, thank you for the $10 super chat. Great show, Josiah, and an excellent panel. The Bill of Rights in our Constitution clearly states that the rights we have are given to us at birth by God and cannot be taken away. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah.
Facts. Thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate that. Dermy Wormy, thank you for the $2 super chat. Tonight on Flashcast, Lofty versus Chris Gore on Rings of Power. Oh,
I did see that.
snap.
Lofty is like the one person that I've seen that actually really enjoys.
He gave it an
Rings of
8.5.
Power. Yeah.
yeah.
He's enjoying it. It was so funny when Yellow Flash put that tweet out. Lofty was like, "I never agreed to this, but okay."
Oh man.
Yeah,
That's
gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun to watch.
Mhm.
Poor Lofty.
Yeah, I'll have to tune in for that for sure.
Yeah.
Fourth 1000, thank you for the $5 super chat. Why wasn't the murder weapon in the Batman checked into evidence days after the murder?
That's a really great question. That is a good point. Because it wasn't. It just been sitting there. Yep.
I haven't seen the Batman yet, so
You should watch it.
I know I need to. It's on my list. I just need to get around to doing it. So
Yeah.
Dermy Wormy, thank you for the $5 super chat. I don't mind a change here or there, but I do mind changing literally everything.
Yeah.
Yep. And we need to be asking, like, why are these changes being made too? Is it to actually complement the story for the cinema screen, or is it because of political agendas or whatever else? You know, what is the worldview behind the change and everything? So
Right. They're changing it because they think that they can do it better. They can write things better than Tolkien, and clearly they can't. They can't do it.
Yep, exactly. And then Ruthie, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, and thank you so much for being here, Ruthie, to mod the chat. We appreciate that. What are you guys' thoughts on Gina Carano's Twitter account being deleted?
I don't think it was deleted. I
Yeah.
don't think it
It's
was
hard.
deleted.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversation about whether or not that's actually what happened.
Yeah.
And we don't really have a definitive answer one way or another. So
I don't think it was deleted. I think that she probably deactivated it to possibly take a break from Twitter.
Yep.
Now, what would be shitty would be Twitter seeing this as an opportunity to delete her account.
to delete it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
But I don't think it was deleted
Yeah.
completely.
Yep. So yeah, that's it for the super chats. Thank you everyone for coming out. We appreciate it. Steph, thank you so much for being here. What do you have going on, Steph?
Well, I might go stream on Twitch actually in probably about an hour. I'll probably go stream on Twitch. I stream Mario Kart and I race with viewers. So if you want to come and hang out with me, race Mario Kart with me, have some fun, you can join me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
On Twitch. Yeah.
And you can go check her out. There's a link there that Ruthie
and then
put in the
tonight,
chat.
I have Talk Nerdy, which is on my channel. We go through all of the weekly cringe in a one quick 2-hour stream, round everything up, and we give commentary on it. I do that with Mara Jade as well as Blabbering Collector. She's actually new to Talk Nerdy. It used to just be me and Mara, and now it's me, Mara, and Blabs. So if you want to come and hang out with us there,
That's awesome. Nice.
Yeah.
We do have one more super chat coming in from Lady Fossil. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. For a palate cleanser, 2001, just visiting, campy, lighthearted, fun, and a comedy. It is fish out of water and a good laugh. Please enjoy.
Visiting.
Oh, nice.
I'll have to check
Put
it
down
out.
on our list. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We appreciate you guys so much. And we'll be here next week at 2 p.m. Saturday. So catch us again next week. Go check out My Nerdy Home. And thank you so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. And we'll catch you all in another stream soon. Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, Mike.